What if you could not only see ghosts, but taste them as well? How long could you live underwater? And the Jersey Devil. It's not just a delicacy for the East Coast anymore.
Get comfortable. Turn off the lights. It's Monthly Spooky.
Welcome, my friends, to another Monthly Spooky. I am, of course, Enrique, here with my good buddy, Michelle.
Yeah.
That's where you say, that's it? You're just going to give a late yeah?
Yeah, what else do you want?
I guess I'll take what I can get. This is the first time I've sat down to do any kind of show since I got very, very sick.
Oh.
Like you didn't know? Like, I had like a stomach virus that I'm still fighting through it, but it's pretty much gone. It's nearly gone. Like my system is still a little messed up, but it's not as bad as it was. But it lasted like today is a week of feeling that way.
Wow.
Yeah. And everybody said the same thing. Like, are you going to go to a doctor? And I'm like, I Googled it and it said 14 days or if it gets worse.
Wow.
That's what it said. So now I would honestly be terrified if it got worse. That would be really weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, usually it's like by the time you fully admit you're sick, that's when it's at its worst and then it declines, you know. But I've never had a stomach bug not decline in 3 days or less. Yeah. So it was not fun. Life has not been like a wonderful, laughing, fun time.
Yeah.
So, but I'm happy to be here with Michelle as she makes weird faces because I don't know what's going on over there.
It's okay. It's not important.
Okay.
Unless you want me to tell you.
I guess you could tell me what's going on over there.
Oh, there's these wrens, house wrens had some babies.
Oh, God.
And they're hanging out. And one of them was just on my actual window, like trying to get in my house.
These are birds, I hope.
I don't know.
I'm just saying, I'd hope they're birds.
Yeah, I think so.
That's good enough for me.
Real small.
It's very small.
Yeah, that's exactly the size they are, I think.
Okay. She held up her fingers. I don't think people may notice that. So, Chell, do you know why today is a very, very special day?
No.
This is the 12th episode of Monthly Spooky.
Oh, no.
Which means this will complete a year of you and I doing Monthly Spooky together.
Oh.
Is that why are you saddened by that?
I don't know.
I was going to say I'm pretty proud of what we've pulled together.
Oh, well, I'm glad that you're proud of it.
Geez. Okay. Well, I didn't realize it was going to be so warm today.
I could do better if you want. Yay. I can't believe it. We made it through a whole year. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good about us, or was that about your pretending to care?
I don't know. The second one?
Oh, okay, good. It's good to pat yourself on the back every now and then, you know? Yeah. Well, to celebrate us having done a year's worth of these today, I don't know if you noticed, but I started redecorating the crypt that we record in.
Yeah.
And I wanted this to make you feel really at home. So I'm sure you were wondering when you first walked in, but yes, I have made this room look like New Jersey. Where you're from.
I noticed that it looks like, I don't remember which one it is, but you know that rest stop on the turnpike?
That was my initial guidance, was definitely anything off of 95 or the Parkway especially. You know, was trying to really nail some Parkway vibes.
Yeah, I definitely noticed. I don't know how you got that corner of the room to look like South Orange, but it really does.
Thank you. Yeah, I felt pretty good about it. I felt like I was trying to make sure it read as orange. So
Yeah.
I put up that picture of Thomas Edison,
Yeah.
because he lived in the oranges.
Yeah, exactly.
So
That's
I feel
how
like,
knew.
we've got a nice Jersey thing going, and that's because I wanted to celebrate our hard work together and you spending a year doing the show with me every month. So I wanted to make it look like your home of New Jersey.
Yeah, I do appreciate that.
And our topic for this week is going to be the Jersey Devil.
Oh, okay. I have opinions.
I was hoping that might be the case. So we are a little bit later, after we get into the spooky news, we're going to talk all about the Jersey Devil. And I'm excited because you have opinions and thoughts. And it won't just be me and my weird childhood where, like, I guess monsters existed all the time for some reason.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the way it went, though. So, but with all that said, with that out of the way, how are you doing, Chell? Or what have you been up to, if you'd rather talk about that?
I don't like either of those. I mean, like, I don't know. Everything's bad. A couple days ago, I got dressed, and then I found an earwig crawling on my stomach.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I guess he was in my shirt.
Well, you do go hiking and stuff.
Okay, but it was just a shirt that was sitting in my bathroom. I didn't, like, go outside.
Is your home buggy?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine is oddly not. I actually found a bug in my bathroom yesterday, and it completely confused me.
What kind of bug?
It was actually a roly-poly.
Oh, yeah, sometimes they just get in.
Yeah. I can't even tell you the last time I saw a roly-poly in a house.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just weird. This house, I mean, I keep the house as clean as I can muster. It's not a filthy place at all, but we just don't get a lot of bugs.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not even linked to it. Like, an earwig, they eat like decaying plant matter and stuff.
Oh.
So why it was in my house, I don't know.
It heard you were a vegetarian.
Yeah.
It was pay dirt.
I mean, he was in the bathroom, so I guess there's some, like, probably, like, like bathroom mold or something that he could eat or stuff like that.
I feel like you're intentionally avoiding the possibility that earwigs just like you.
This is the first time. The last time something crawled out of my shirt, it was a stink bug. So.
Oh, well, I know stink bugs like you.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of them. So.
It was like a few years back, they were just pernicious. They were just everywhere.
Yeah.
All the time. It was like nothing was fun about being outside because you would be like, oh, I've got to paint a chair. So you'd like take a chair in your backyard and you'd like spray paint it. And then you would like turn your head for 8 seconds and turn back and it was covered in stink bugs. And you'd be like, oh, right. Nothing can exist outside without stink bug involvement.
Wow.
Hooray.
That is not my experience. My experience was a couple years ago. They were all over inside my house. And they fly and then they just drop out of the sky and fall on you. So, and then one was on
really
my
high
pillow.
Ceilings.
Yeah.
Wait, what did you just say?
I said one was on my pillow.
Oh, God.
I think more than one time that happened. One time I was walking down the stairs and I put my hand on the railing and I squished one.
Ah.
Yeah.
And that made it stink, right?
Yes.
Ah. See, I'm a little baby girl when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Oh.
Like, I do not do well with bugs.
Oh, I like bugs, and usually if they're bugs that aren't annoying me, like if it's like a beetle, I'll just let it hang out in my house if that's what it wants
until
to
your
do.
cat eats it.
Yeah. Pigs likes to eat things.
Henwolf will occasionally catch bugs. Like they'll just fly by your head and she'll be like, and just like snatch them. We call them sky raisins. They're just like a free little snack every now and then.
I guess that's why you don't have any bugs.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Good girl, Henwolf. Good girl. She's asleep, like completely out cold. But no, luckily stink bugs were not a huge deal in the house. I mean, I've gotten a few, but not a ton. I think it has something to do with where we are more than anything, because my mother has a beautiful big house and it is insanely clean and they have bugs all the time.
Yeah, I actually don't know why your house doesn't have bugs in it. My experience with every house I've ever been in is that they have bugs. Like,
I mean, I see bugs occasionally, and I am somebody who lets the spiders chill for the most part. I have a rule: if I find a spider on me, it's dead.
No,
but if I find a spider just like anywhere, just doing its own thing, I don't bother it at all.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that like the spider. I look over at my arm and there's a spider arm, and then I go like, and then it becomes a courtroom, and I'm like, you have been charged. But it's more I go, ah! And I hit it.
Yeah.
And then I go, oh well, I already came to peace with the fact that that's what happens.
Yeah.
So sorry, spider. If they didn't want to get smashed, then they should respect property rights.
I guess.
I mean, I'm just saying that would be for their own safety as much as anything.
Yeah. I guess that's true.
I mean, a little harsh the way you're not backing me up on this, but
I'm just not sure they understand English.
They don't. That's why you have to use actions. That's why every spider you kill, you have to put it on a little toothpick and sit it in the front yard so all the other spiders can see. Yeah, that's some Vlad the Impaler shit right there. Yeah.
Jeez.
So, but well, I'm sorry about the earwig. I don't know anything about earwigs. Have I ever seen an earwig?
You can look it up. They're kind of long and they're dark color and they have a big pincher on their back.
Oh, side. I've seen earwigs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've seen them. I don't think I've seen one in my house. Will they hurt you?
No. Apparently they can pinch you with their pincher, but it doesn't really hurt that much.
They're
like all over outside. So I guess every once in a while one just kind of comes in and
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, it must have been nice to have a guest.
Yeah. I mean, I just threw him back outside. I like grabbed him and was like,
did you,
bye.
But most important, did you yell yeet when you threw? Oh, well then he's going to come right back.
Oh man.
He's going to be like, you removed me, but you did not yeet me.
Oh man.
Rookie. That's a rookie mistake.
I know.
So, well, we're going to go to a quick break, and then we're going to come back and cover some interesting spooky news that I have been very excited to share with you.
Okay.
Right after this. And we're back, and Chell, you want to do the honors?
Yay.
It's time for the spooky news.
Oh, okay. We're going to do the spooky news now.
I don't think it's going to trigger unless you say it right.
Oh, okay. It's time for the spooky news.
The spooky news.
It worked.
Oh, good.
What? You just didn't want to hear it. It's not that I edit it in post or something. Quiet you.
Oh.
I don't want to hear any more of your junk. All right. So our first piece of spooky news comes from, believe it or not, mirror.co.uk.
Yay.
A website that I've been told is normal news, but I've only found stories about ghosts. The headline is, I stayed the night in Coco Chanel's abandoned mansion. What I heard gave me goosebumps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Are you spooked?
No, but who knows?
But who can say? Coco Chanel lived in the mansion in the 1920s with lover Hugh Grosvenor. Actually, I think I said that right. But it was abandoned in 1967 and has been visited several times over the years by ghost hunters.
Oh.
Okay, well let's find out what happened. The news I'm looking at, the first image is like an ad for like gutter systems. Oh. And for a second, I thought this very average American home with a guy pulling a gutter off was Coco Chanel's mansion. I was like, well, I guess by 1920s standards, that's a really nice mansion. I don't know, it kind of looks like my house. A YouTuber who spent the night at Coco Chanel's abandoned mansion in the Scottish Highlands reported several things going bump in the night. The property, known as Rose Hall House, was home to the founder of Chanel, and she lived there in the 1920s with her lover, Hugh Grosvenor. Yeah, it's Grosvenor. Is it terrible? I assumed Coco Chanel was a man, and that he was just, gay because he founded Chanel?
I don't know. I knew that Coco Chanel was a woman.
I only have heard the name. I didn't really know anything about Coco Chanel. So
okay.
well,
I mean, who knows?
Mazel tov to her then. She's kicked a lot of butt in the industry.
Yeah.
So how much what's your favorite Chanel item, by the way?
The really good one that everybody likes.
Oh, yeah. I've heard a lot of people really like that. Might even be everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, well, good. I know how much you like to stay on fleek with that kind of Chanel and Armani. You're big on Emporio Armani, which is I love because they don't even make a lot of women's stuff, and you're like, I don't care. Yeah. I know what looks good on me.
Yeah.
I love it. Expensive taste, but I can appreciate it.
Thank you.
It has housed several big names in the past, including Winston Churchill, but has been uninhabited since 1967.
Oh.
The home contains 22 bedrooms and was originally built in 1873 after a house on the same site was destroyed in a blazing fire.
Oh.
Why does that bother you so much?
I don't know. I just felt bad for the house.
The one that burned down?
Yeah.
Well, for the record, I mean, if the house that burned down was built prior to 1873, it was probably a very racist house.
I mean, maybe, but that we can't just assume.
I'm just saying, it's be on the right side of history. All right. It was recently visited by urban explorer Matt from YouTube channel Finders Beepers. No, because he doesn't have a last name or anything. Because I wonder if they even contacted him, or if this is literally like at Mirror, at like news places in general. Is this what happens now? Is this why almost all stories are YouTube or TikTok? Is it's like you're sitting at your desk just watching TikTok, and then you're like, "Hey, this is news now," because I don't want to get fired, so I'm gonna write news.
Yeah, I think so.
But I love it's just Matt from YouTube channel Finders Beepers. It like no last name, no nothing, know where he's from, who spent a haunting night at the house. I'm gonna show you, Chell, some pictures of the house, some interior shots. So if the ads won't get in the way. So look at that. It's pretty in bad shape right now. I mean,
it's in really bad shape.
Lots of bad things can happen when a house is empty for over 50 years, I would assume.
Yeah.
So, it's definitely seen better days. As a professional home inspector, what do you see wrong with these two photos?
Well, I mean, there's a big hole in the floor. That's the first thing that jumps out at me.
See, that's why people pay you to look at their houses, because I would have looked at it and been like, it's fine.
Oh, yeah, I know.
So that's what we're seeing is like it looks like walls are just rotting away, holes in floors. It looks like it's secluded enough that nobody's really like defaced it or anything. It's just sitting and the earth is just taking it back.
Yeah.
He said, quote, I was on edge from the second I got out of the car, and the anxiety built with every second of my stay. Quote, I heard what sounded like someone dragging something across the floor, and it sent shivers down my spine, leaving me with chicken skin. This is what this guy said. Oh, did you just imagine it was like a bowl full of chicken skins?
Like chicken skins, but like he put them on his arms?
Oh, God. That's a mortifying image in my head. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
What grown man says leaving me with chicken skin?
I guess someone who's from a area of the world that speaks English slightly differently than we do.
Ugh, the worst parts of the world.
Yeah. Actually, I mean, goosebumps do kind of look like chicken skin.
Oh, they totally do when they're plucked.
Yeah.
Which is, not the normal way of a chicken, but fine.
The normal way that we see chickens a lot.
Quote, I was tempted to leave, but I thought, no, I'm here now, so I may as well Rambo it. I kind of want to check out this guy's YouTube channel now just to hear him talk. Quote, I love the history of this place, thinking iconic people such as Coco Chanel and Winston Churchill have walked the same corridors and slept in the bedrooms. I heard so many noises, from tapping on walls to what sounded like something large being dragged across the main room floor. If I thought this place was spooky in the daylight, it was next level scary at nighttime.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, I should show you another. So here's another image of inside.
It doesn't really look that bad.
No, but it doesn't look that good either. Huh?
I mean, it looks like it could be just like a room and somebody's like getting all their possessions together. They're getting ready to move out.
Yeah. I mean, and haunted. So, continuing the article, it says Ms. Chanel was the Duke's lover between 1924 and 1930, and she spent several summers in the Highlands retreat, redecorating every room in handsome floral wallpaper inspired by her flat in Paris. Yeah. Fancy.
Yeah.
Scraps of the French designer's hand-blocked wallpaper can still be seen in the 22 rooms, while Winston Churchill stayed there in 1928 as he recovered from illness.
Oh.
I mean, I'm guessing, knowing the quotes and stuff of Winston Churchill, I'm guessing his illness was he was sick of everybody's shit.
Yeah.
I want to be Winston Churchill when I grow up.
I think you can be.
Oh, that's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. Thank you. Rose Hall has been uninhabited since 1967 and is on Scotland's register of high-risk properties with extensive dry rot.
What kind of register is this?
Scotland's register of high-risk properties.
Of high-risk properties with extensive dry rot?
Mm-hmm.
That's such a...
Now, it's Scotland's register of high-risk properties, comma, with extensive dry rot. So I don't think the list is just houses with extensive dry rot, but that the extensive dry rot is why this house is on the high-risk properties register.
I mean, maybe, or... I guess. It just, if you take out that part and you go the other part, it's still kind of weird.
Yeah, no, it is kind of weird. The abandoned house was due to become a hotel in 2014, but previous negotiations fell through.
Oh.
It was one of the most expensive properties in Scotland when it was marketed back in 2015. Rose Hall House finally sold at the end of 2020 after being on the market for 4 years. However, renovation work is yet to commence on the property.
Oh.
Ooh, that's the scariest part of this whole story. And then the contractors haven't done anything yet.
Oh.
Ooh. I'm sorry if that was too scary for our listeners.
Yeah.
I apologize. I should have given a warning about discussion of contractors. Matt added one aspect he disliked was the amount of vandalism in the home. Okay, I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
He added, quote, I was appalled by the amount of I should just write news articles. That's like one of those jokes you do where you have narration be what the person is saying.
Yeah,
he felt tired from the whole experience. I just feel tired from the whole experience. Like Matt added one aspect he disliked was the amount of vandalism in the home. He added, I was appalled by the amount of vandalism, theft, and damage since the last time I visited. I wish people could just enjoy these places instead of ruining them. And that's all he had to say. So I guess the ghosts were not that big a deal.
Yeah, I mean, I would be more worried about the condition of the home than the ghosts, because it sounds like he just heard some things that he didn't know what they were.
Yeah, no, I think you're probably right. That they were
and
ghosts.
Also, like, I just think it's funny. He's like, oh, the vandalism, I'm trespassing.
I got the vibe he might not be trespassing. I got the vibe he might have had permission. But maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it's just a lawless hellscape in Scotland. If you're in Scotland listening to this, let us know. Is it an unbound hellscape? We want to know. So this next story is from HuffPost.com, and it has the best beginning of a headline you could ever see. Florida man makes big splash by setting record for living underwater.
What?
Yeah. I wanted to read this because we talked about that woman who lived in a cave and stuff like that. So this guy, Joseph Dittery, it's Dittery, Diddery. Yep, that's how you say it. Plans to stay at a lodge for deep sea divers until June 9th, which would be 100 days underwater. A university professor broke a record for the longest time living underwater without depressurization this weekend at a Florida Keys lodge for scuba divers. Joseph Detury's 74th day residing in Jules Undersea Lodge, situated at the bottom of a 30-foot deep lagoon in Key Largo, wasn't much different than his previous days there since he submerged March 1st. How do you feel about staying, how far was that again? 30 feet deep for many days. How do you feel about that?
There's a hotel underwater?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
How did you not know that?
I don't know.
You seriously didn't know about Jules's Undersea Lodge?
No, I'd never heard of it. I didn't realize
Everybody
it was
knows
so
about
famous.
Jules's Undersea Lodge. I personally, I always order the flan. It's very, very good.
Oh, really? I didn't know that they had a good restaurant too. I mean,
I would call it 4 stars, but 5 stars for underwater options.
Oh.
Because you have to take that into account too. Like, what else is around? Like, how does the pressure affect cooking it? Those things are important. They matter. So, anyway, Detury, who also goes by the moniker Dr. Deep Sea. I got nothing on that. I'm just going to let that go. Ate a protein-heavy meal of eggs and salmon prepared using a microwave, exercised with resistance bands, did his daily push-ups, and took an hour-long nap. Unlike a submarine, the lodge does not use technology to adjust for the increased water pressure.
Uh-oh.
I mean, I guess that makes sense. It's 30 feet deep. So it's like, it's not that dangerous. Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, he died. Never mind. No, I'm just kidding. Just reading never mind. He's dead. No. The previous record of 73 days, 2 hours, and 34 minutes was set by 2 Tennessee professors, Bruce Cantrell and Jessica Fain, at the same location in 2014. But Detury isn't just settling for the record and resurfacing. He plans to stay at the lodge until June 9th, when he reaches 100 days and completes an underwater mission dubbed Project Neptune 100.
Okay.
Scientists are nerds. I love it. I love it. Nerdlingers, like 100%. Love it. His research includes daily experiments in physiology to monitor how the human body responds to long-term exposure to extreme pressure. Quote, The idea here is to populate the world's oceans, to take care of them by living in them and really treating them well, Detury said. How do you feel? Would you live in the ocean?
I'm so confused.
Okay, what is it?
Why would that be helpful if we lived in the ocean?
I mean, because if we lived in the oceans, it would be easier to maintain them, to keep them. Why
are we? What?
Why not?
Why are we just going around like what are we, like, cleaning the ocean? I'm confused.
I don't see the lazy polar bears doing anything.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, humanity's so terrible. I don't see anybody else doing anything good. Cleaning up things. Banning plastic straws. I don't see anybody else doing anything good. That's all I'm saying is
that's true.
Those India elephants are just like so superior to everybody, but you never see them cleaning baby seals when there's crude oil on them. Granted, we put the crude oil there. I'm not debating that, but we're cleaning up the mess. No,
you're right.
Sorry, please.
Sorry.
No.
If they cared so much about their environment, they would work to fix it.
Yeah.
Any of the problems.
Yeah. Losers. So, but no, so I get what he's saying though. People who want to like heavily research the ocean and want to heavily research how to improve living, just the oceanic space, where things live and everything. It would be, if you could live there, you could get a lot more accomplished. That's definitely true.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I'm sure this article is a little bit old because it's after the time he said he was going to come.
Yeah, and he did it. He made it 100 days.
Okay, good. Because like I'd be really concerned about him with that pressure. Like, that's a big deal.
Din, 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 diddle, din, din. Din,
Yeah,
din,
he's
din,
under a
diddle,
lot of
din,
pressure.
din, din, diddle, din, din. Din, 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 diddle, din, din. Take it, Michelle. Pressure. Come on.
No.
Oh man, we could have had a really good copyright strike. Okay. But no, I think that's what he means by populate the world's oceans, is with researchers and stuff. I can't imagine that the average person would just want to live in the ocean.
I mean, if I wasn't afraid of what the immense pressure would do to my body and lifespan and stuff like that, I'll live underwater. Sure,
there
whatever.
are some
I don't
studies
care.
suggesting it's going to extend lifespans.
Yeah.
I read a very brief article saying that one of the effects on his body was that it caused the body to generate stuff that it barely generates when you're older.
Oh.
I'd have to read into it more. Don't believe anything I say, by the way. This is a show for entertainment and I'm an idiot. So, the outreach portion of Dituri's mission includes conducting online classes and broadcast interviews from his digital studio beneath the sea. That's exactly what I would do if I was like, I'm going to be under the ocean for 100 days. I built a podcast studio down there. So don't worry. You're not going to miss out on any of me. During the past 74 days, he has reached over 2,500 students through online classes in marine science and more with his regular biomedical engineering courses at the University of South Florida.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. While he says he loves living under the ocean, there is one thing he really misses.
The sun?
Under the sea. Okay. Quote, the thing that I miss the most about being on the surface is literally the sun.
Yay!
You did it. You did a good job. You did a good job. Dituri said, quote, the sun has been a major factor in my life. Well, you're special in that. It's not the cause of all life or anything. The sun has been a major factor in my life. I usually go to the gym at 5 and then I come back out and watch the sunrise. Aww. What a romantic. Anyway, I'm living underwater now. Good for him. Under the sea. Quote, the record is a small bump, and I really appreciate it, said Dituri, a university. Why is it telling us who he is again?
That's okay. They don't know what they're doing.
A University of South Florida educator who holds a doctorate in biomedical engineering and is a retired U.S. naval officer. Quote, I'm honored to have it, but we still have more science to do.
Okay. I changed my opinion of him.
Yeah.
Because he actually has a lot of credentials, it sounds like. So I'm going to be like, okay, he probably knows what he's doing.
It's not like it's just a guy like me being like, I'm going to live underwater now.
Yeah.
I would do that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would be more like David Blaine sitting at the bottom of a swimming pool. I like David Blaine because he's a stunt guy. I like stunts.
Yeah.
Do you like stunts?
They're okay.
Yeah?
They're fine.
Okay. Well, that's a ringing endorsement if I've ever heard one. But we're going to go to a quick break and we'll be back with even more spooky news. It's good to be back, probably, with some more spooky news. Right, Chell?
Sure.
Okay, fine. So I got a question for you, Chell.
No.
Oh.
Okay, you can ask.
Yay! Okay, no, when you die, do you want to be buried, cremated, donated to science? What do you want done with your corpse?
I'm not sure. Maybe the thing where you put me on a mound and then the vultures come and eat me.
Oh, okay. That's very old school. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I like that. So you have no desire to have a coffin, be put in a coffin, anything like that?
I definitely don't want to be buried. That is the one thing that I don't want.
Why is that?
Sounds bad.
Sounds bad? Like how?
Because I don't, first of all, it's not good.
Would you mind giving a little bit more detail than that?
It's like not really good for the environment. You don't really break down that good. I'm scared of worms. I don't like any of that.
Okay, you're scared of worms? Me too.
Yeah, I don't like when then they're all long.
Have you heard the stories about coffins exploding underground because of the decay?
No, but that would make sense.
Yeah, because a lot of them are airtight.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any, like, I don't understand that being a selling point. Like, oh, please.
Because you don't want the things to get in, the underground things.
But, like, that's just what is going to happen when you're buried underground.
No. That's why you buy a coffin, so they don't get in.
But they do get in.
No.
I mean, to me, it seems like the morbid but honest way to be would be, and it's this beautiful mahogany with holes to allow things to come in and start eating your loved one as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Like, because that's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I get, frankly, the thing that's always confused me about coffins is I get the ornateness. Like, I totally get that. Like, people want to look at something nice, their loved one. I get it because it's like an old ritual and, like, that's what I'm saying. I get that.
I mean, I get that too, because you don't want to just like have like I'm trying to think of like the
cardboard
worst
box.
Yeah, and be like, there he is. Because it's not
just with Amazon scratched out of the side.
Yeah, it's not that bad for the person because they're dead, but for their loved ones, kind of a little upsetting.
It's like, I feel like you cheaped out on the funeral, and you're like, what? It was total luck. I bought a refrigerator on Amazon a week before Uncle Tom died. Okay, shut up. No, like, my point is, I get wanting it to look beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't get is that they actually make it look beautiful by making it like actually insanely high quality. So it actually costs like $7,000 or $10,000.
Yeah.
That's the part I don't get. I would think you should build it like a television or a movie set. Mm-hmm. It should look gorgeous and actually be made out of crap. Because it doesn't matter. Yeah,
they should make it out of OSB, oriented strand board. Which is, it's good. We use it for like sheathing and stuff now. But like, I don't think it's supposed to get wet. So it's perfect. It'll just kind of like break down.
Yeah, which is what it's going to do.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying is, like, I feel like it should all be spent on encasing it so that it looks very nice.
Mm-hmm.
But it also should not be 10 grand. It should be much less, because there's no reason for it to actually be a solid piece of furniture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm sure the tree doesn't appreciate you cutting it down and shoving it underground like that.
Well, did you know that when you're cremated, by almost every state law, you have to be inside of of some kind of a thing, like a container. That's the word I was looking for. You have to be inside a container. And most people would expect like maybe a big cardboard box.
Mm-hmm.
And they do that, and that costs like $500 or $600 because it's a very big, very sturdy cardboard box. People will actually pay for real coffins that are like $6,000 to be used to cremate people.
But then how do you know which parts of it are your loved one and which parts of it are like a piece of a tree?
Well, that's always been the question.
How?
Especially considering that they really just barbecue you for like 45 minutes and then they grind it all up anyway.
Yeah, I like the kind of like the Japanese and some Asian countries where they cremate you but the bones are still left, and then your loved ones have to come pick the bones out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you see that in an anime or something?
Maybe. But it's like a thing. It's like part of it. Like you come and then you take out the remaining bones and stuff. It's like a thing you do for your loved ones.
In Bruce Lee Fights Back from the Grave, which I often quote as being very interesting and very full of culture. Mm-hmm. It's a very cheesy B movie, but because the movie's made by Koreans, there's like a part where he gets the bones out of a pile of ashes, and they put all of it in a box that he wears around his neck, and they just play it like it's completely normal. And knowing what we know about cultures now, especially with the internet, it's like, oh yeah, that's just a weird culture thing. But what did people think watching that in like a scummy theater in 1983? Like they must have just been like, whoa, did I take the acid? I thought I chose not to take the acid. But then again, maybe that's the acid talking. So anyway, this was not a random flight of morbidity, by the way.
Oh.
This is a news story from WIBW.com. Woman presumed dead tries to break out of her coffin during wake. What? Michelle's gesturing.
This is why you don't be in a coffin, because then if you were still alive, you're going to be dead anyway. At least if you're burned, you're totally dead forever.
That's true. Well, have you ever heard that joke about the two hillbillies in the woods? The two hillbillies are out in the woods hunting, and one of the hillbillies starts like freaking out and grabbing his chest, and he has a heart attack, and he falls down dead. Mm-hmm. And his buddy like walks up and is like checking him, and he's not breathing, so he calls 911 on a cell phone, and 911's like, 911, how can we help you? He's like, my friend, I think he had a heart attack and died out in the woods, and I need an ambulance or something right now. And she's like, okay, sir, please calm down, take a deep breath. Before anything else, can you make sure that he's dead? Bang! Okay, now what? Oh, English is a living language. Okay, yeah. So during the wake, 76-year-old Bella Montoya. Okay, that just is a badass name. Mm-hmm. Bella Montoya. That's going to be my drag name, Bella Montoya. I mean, with all respect, was hitting the coffin trying to get out.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy. So this was in Babahoyo, Ecuador.
Okay.
So, yikes. Mourners were left stunned when a woman knocked on her coffin during her own wake.
Jeez.
A 76-year-old woman in Ecuador was declared dead at a hospital over the weekend after a possible stroke and cardiac arrest. But during the wake, Bella Montoya was hitting the coffin, trying to get out. Oh, good. She was taken back to the hospital. That's good. I was afraid they were like, they took her to McDonald's. Although I would be hungry.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen, by the way, have you ever seen the Kill Bill movies?
I think I saw part of the first one.
So you never saw the second one?
Probably not.
Because the bride gets buried alive in the second one. And basically she figures out how to punch her way out of her coffin, which is not really a coffin, it's like a box, but she figures out how to punch her way out by like, they do this whole thing where she flashes back to learning how to punch from 1 inch away really hard. Mm-hmm. And then it shows her like doing that until it breaks through. But the great thing is, so she digs her way out of the grave and like climbs out of the dirt and is covered in dirt. And as she's walking across the street from the cemetery, dirt is just pouring off of her and pouring off of her and pouring off of her. And then she walks across the street. There's just a diner. She walks into the diner, sits down covered in dirt, and everyone in that diner could see that she like rose from the grave. And she just sits down and puts her arms across the table very politely and goes, I would like a glass of water, please. And I always think of that when I think of somebody escaping from their grave. Her current condition is unknown. The Ministry of Public Health said a state investigation is now underway.
Whoa.
And that's all there is right now.
Okay.
But I found that to be a very spooky, like that is the definitive spooky news kind of story.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like that was the way to go.
Yeah.
So let's go to something a little less terrifying, but also maybe terrifying.
Huh.
You and me, Chell, we're going to take a little trip to Venice.
Really?
Not literally, but in our imaginations. A fluorescent green Venice canal is beguiling residents. Police are on the case. This is from NPR. Something's in the water of Italy's famed Grand Canal in Venice. Venetians woke up to a mysterious... It just makes me think they're blinds. Like, Venetians, I'm like, yes. Yes, blinds. Very good. Venetians woke up to a mysterious patch of fluorescent green in the central water on Sunday. The verdant stretch hugged an embankment near the Rialto Bridge and appeared to spread as the day went on, based on images posted to social media. What do you think this is? Do you have any early theories?
Probably food coloring, right?
I mean, very likely food coloring. I mean, ecto-cooler.
Yeah.
It is a fluorescent green.
Mm-hmm.
The photo makes it look very fluorescent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of like reminds me of Surge. I'm sure you drank your share of Surge.
Sure.
You didn't drink Surge?
No.
Police are in... What were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say, you seem to think I'm a lot cooler than I am.
You are cool. We even get messages from people saying you're cool.
No.
I showed you one.
Yeah, I know. But it was just one time. So
One time recently,
you
mean?
Yeah.
Now you're going to make me read it.
No.
Sorry about you.
No.
I mean, you might be in luck. I may not be able to find it in a quick and timely manner. Because we had a fan leave a comment on Instagram.
Oh, that's where it was.
Yeah. Amy, that is me, said, I'm just going to leave this here. I love that. I'm just going to leave this here. I'm a big fan of Weekly Spooky, and I especially love monthly spooky episodes. It's so cool hearing the spooky news. I mean, that's the best kind of news. Yeah. Unless you're an old lady. What was it? What was her name? Bella Montoya?
Yeah.
That's so cool. I feel like there should be like an awesome music stab, like every time you say Bella Montoya.
You should make one and put it in there.
I can't because I've already referenced it as a joke.
Oh.
Please tell Michelle how awesome she is. She's so funny and entertaining without trying. She's great. Keep the spooky news coming. I wasn't going to read that on the show and embarrass you like that, but you had to go and talk smack about my best friend. That's you. So, sorry, homie.
No, but thank you. That was really nice. And also, I try so hard.
Well, the best compliment you can get is it's like you're not even trying. Well,
Yeah.
unless they're complaining. That's a whole other.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you're not even trying. That's one where tone of voice changes everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're not even trying. Thank you. It's like you're not even trying. Oh, sorry. Like, so good. Anyway.
Especially when you are trying. And it's like, I'm trying so hard. And it looks like I'm not even trying ever.
Police are investigating the origin of the liquid after residents reported the spectacle to authorities on Sunday morning. Luca Zaea, the governor of the Veneto region, said on Twitter. Italy's fire and rescue agency said it's working with local environmental officials to identify the substance from collected samples of the water. Oh. A range of theories have surfaced online, with some speculating algae growth and others pointing the finger at environmental activists.
Those damn environmental activists.
Well, they do sometimes do weird things to draw attention. They could have dumped a buttload of totally safe green food dye into the water to show that, like, anybody can dump whatever they want in the water and you can't really catch them or whatever.
Well, I hope it's not them, because that sounds pretty dumb.
Oh, it definitely sounds dumb. I was explaining how a stupid thing happens, not how smart it was.
Oh.
City Councilman Andrea Pegoraro. Man, I'm terrible with Italian names.
Yeah.
Decent with French names. Excellent with Spanish names. Bella Montoya. Who have been targeting Italian cultural sites in recent months. Oh yeah. So City Councilman Andrea Pegoraro blamed climate activists.
Wow.
That's a city councilman said that blamed climate activists who have been targeting Italian cultural sites in recent months.
Oh.
The group Ultima Generazione, which has poured charcoal into fountains in Rome at least 3 times since April in protest, told the network that the green coloring, quote, wasn't us.
Okay. It wasn't them then.
It wasn't me.
Yeah.
It wasn't me. This is the most I've talked to another human being since I got horribly sick. This is a very exciting time for me. The timing of the Emerald Patch also aroused suspicion. The Vogaloga rowing regatta, in which amateur crews finish along the Grand Canal, took place over the weekend. The amateur boat event aims to celebrate the Venetian lagoon environment, as well as to protest wave motion from the excessive motorboat traffic that riles the city. For many, the bright green waters call to mind a 1968 exploit by eco artist Nicolas Garcia Uriburu. I'm actually saying that right, I'm pretty sure. Uriburu. Okay. According to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, Uriburu colored the waters of Venice, of the Venice Grand Canal that year with a neon green dye called fluorescein to promote environmental awareness.
Okay.
So what's your take on this?
I don't know. I think it was a prank.
A prank by environmentalists?
No, just by some dude or some.
Why has it got to be a dude? Women can't do stupid things like this?
I just said, or some woman.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I feel like you're making this about sex when it doesn't need to be.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you should feel bad.
Yeah.
No, so you think it was just some random prank?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. After hearing that like stuff like this kind of happens in Italy, it is making me wonder if it's not, in my opinion, if it isn't somebody who's trying to make a point about environmentalism, then they're definitely somewhat inspired by someone who was trying to make a point about environmentalism. Yeah. Because it does seem weird, like, but it's a good way to get everybody to look at the canal. It's a good way for everybody to get people to test the water, which could prove that it's been polluted. And the fact that no one can figure out who did it is a really good, this is just me speaking, but is a really good point that people could just dump whatever they want in the canal. So we need to protect it. Because like somebody was able to do this.
Yeah, I mean, I could just go to the Delaware River and just dump some green food coloring in it.
People would be thrilled.
Yeah.
Well, so, I mean, isn't that a horrible body of water? Isn't that like the worst thing ever?
No, it's fine. That's the Schuylkill.
Oh God. The Schuylkill, but everybody calls it Schuylkill. So, well, I mean, honestly, the first time I saw it, the first thought I had was, isn't it Chicago dyes the rivers green or whatever?
Yeah, for St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, which I mean is charming in a hilariously wasteful way. So yeah, I'm thinking it's very likely that this is food coloring.
Yeah.
And getting that much food coloring actually could be a challenge, though. I mean, unless you buy all those little bottles. I mean, I guess you could order on the internet, but then there's a permanent paper trail, though. So if they want to find who did this, they would just have to say, hey, Amazon.Italy or whatever. Like, did anybody buy a ton of green food dye?
I guess to cover your tracks, you could buy a ton of like every kind of dye and just be like, no, we're making shirts.
Yeah, we're making shirts.
Or like colored eggs.
Yeah, we're making a really, really big cupcake.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then when you actually have to make big cupcakes and be like, no, really, we did.
Delicious. You know, I'm going to see if there's a follow-up on this.
Okay.
The Green Canal, Florence. Oh, it looks like they have not caught anybody.
Okay.
So, because that article, the articles we get on Spooky News, they're not always super recent. They're usually a month or two old. So this one, yeah, nobody has said who did it.
Wow.
Like it was at the end of May was when this first occurred.
Okay.
So, and yeah, I'm looking up like Al Jazeera and all these other services, and they don't have any idea.
Huh.
It's very green though.
It is really green.
So yeah, Italy's fire departments, yeah, they don't know what made it green. Or who made it green.
You know, it might actually not be hard to get that much dye because I saw a house recently where they dyed their lake, not lake, but
blue?
like a pond. Yeah.
Yeah, they dye it like a charming blue color.
Yeah.
Huh.
So they must make that for bodies of water, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. So it is still unsolved. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure you can get, if you were really trying to do this and get away with it, I mean, you're in Italy, you could like buy the stuff in Spain, like through a friend or like from a nearby country. And then it would almost be impossible to connect it. So that's what I did not do it. But if I had done it, much like the O.J. Simpson book, if it was me, that's how I would have done it.
Yeah.
But I didn't do it. So stop asking.
Just know a lot about it.
I should have brought my attorney. We're going to take a quick break while I obtain legal counsel, and then we'll be back with more spooky news. And we are back after an appropriate bathroom break with more spooky news. This one, do you want to guess where this one's from, Chell?
Do you want me to guess correctly or wrong?
Whichever's funnier to you.
I don't have a good one. So mirror.co.uk?
Well, you are correct. And it sounds to me like you might be a psychic, like a certain lady from mirror.co.uk. The headline is, I can feel, see, hear, and taste in other dimensions.
Wow.
It's how I speak to the dead.
I want to taste in other dimensions.
Oh, you just haven't had my cooking then, clearly, because I don't think I've ever made you Mexican food, actually.
Mm-mm.
You got to come over.
Okay.
Because
I'm there right now. I forgot.
I mean, over to my normal home for fun and enjoyment.
Oh, okay.
Not here where we're working in this creepy dungeon.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so apparently she speaks to the dead by feeling, seeing, hearing, and tasting other dimensions.
Yay.
Enmay Magels says she has spoken to spirits since she was 3 years old and was told off a lot for what she would say to people.
The spirits told her off, or people?
I'm guessing. Her parents were asked to bring her along to parties. I mean, I don't want to be a terrible human being, but I'm going to be a terrible human being.
Oh.
So Enmay is Asian of some type of East Asian descent, right?
I think so.
And it just immediately made me think of like how Asian parents are like so strict about like being good at something. Like it would be like, no, you sit down and you taste the spiritual realm now. And she's just like, okay, Dad. And then it's like, then we go to a party and everyone see you're good. Like, I just imagine that immediately. Like, it's like, just take piano and replace it with being a psychic. It's like, we're having a dinner party so everybody can see you play. We're having a dinner party so everybody can watch you taste another dimension. That just immediately was my first thought, was that it was like, man, Asian households, they're just so strict. A psychic who claims we all have the ability to speak to the dead says she can feel, see, hear, and taste in other dimensions. Enmay Magels, 65, says she realized she was psychic at age 3 after speaking to spirits who she called her playmates.
Oh.
That sounds not terrifying in the least.
Well, I mean, if they're nice, it's fine.
I think that if I don't know that I believe in ghosts, I probably don't. I mean, I don't currently believe in ghosts. So, because there's always that thing. It's like, do you know ghosts exist? I don't know if they exist. So do you believe in ghosts? Well, I can't actively believe in ghosts if I don't know if they exist. Believing is active. It's like the epistemological question, like, are you an atheist or an agnostic? It's like, well, atheist answers the question, do you believe? And agnostic answers the question, do you know? So, you can't say like, what's your belief? And you're like, I'm an agnostic. So you don't know if you believe? That doesn't make any sense, because believing is active. You have to actively do something to believe in something. So if you're not sure if it exists, then you're not currently believing in it. That doesn't mean you could change your mind later, but that's a whole thing I've always thought about. And I have no idea why that came up, and I apologize to everyone. Her first psychic experience was talking to her granddad, and growing up, as Enmay says, she would often get in trouble for telling people what she saw, revealing pregnancies and job promotions. Okay, so she got in trouble because people were mad at her for telling them what she saw. So it wasn't the spirits getting mad at her.
I mean, I get
less exciting. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I get that for some things. Like, sometimes you don't want everyone to know that you're pregnant.
Yeah, that's true.
Or that you're going to get promoted.
Well, and so another point about ghosts is, if I did believe ghosts existed, I would be much more afraid of the ghosts who seemed perfectly friendly and genial. They would terrify me. Like, I would expect a ghost to at least be a little creepy. Like, even if they were nice, like a ghost would just kind of be like, I've seen death's door. And you're like, oh God, yeah, you would have. He's like, anyway, how are you? I'd be like, oh, you're kind of cool. But if a ghost is just like, howdy, friend, let's go do something fun, I'd be like, you're going to kill me. It would be my first thought. This is going to be my death. But also going to play with this ghost because, like, come on.
Yeah, it's
what
a
are
ghost.
When are you going to have this opportunity again?
Yeah.
The medium believes everyone is born with psychic abilities, but said people get FOMO, fear of missing out.
What?
This whole article is weird, and it's an English news site. I'm going to read that again. The medium believes everyone is born with psychic abilities, but said people get FOMO, fear of missing out, and don't use them as they want to fit in with everyday culture.
That's not the way you use that term.
That's
incorrect.
No, so the fear of, like, no, you don't. What? No.
No.
No. The psychic and intuitive strategy advisor. Wow. Okay. I didn't really think about this when I chose this story. I don't like psychics.
I know
you know, because you've been my friend a long time. I believe that most psychics, if they're doing it for money, they're frauds.
Mm-hmm.
And what's worse is the best case scenario is they're not a fraud. They actually believe what they're doing is real. It just isn't, which is even more dangerous because that convinces people. And I know I'll get a lot of guff for that, and that's fine. You're allowed to believe in what you believe in, and I'm allowed to believe in what I believe in. But nothing makes me cringe to the point of pain like psychics who do this stuff for money and are clearly using magic tricks or even just making things up entirely. And the reason I got mad was that they go by a psychic and intuitive strategy advisor, which just sounds like I couldn't afford one, which just makes me mad.
Yeah, I know you want one.
I do. I have literally had a job posting on monster.com for intuitive strategy advisors for months.
You need to try a different site.
Monster is the only place. Are they even still around?
I don't know.
I have no idea if they're still around.
That's why it's not working.
I think it's not working because the under salary, it's negative $21,000 a year. So they would need to pay me.
See, I think you should at least get a couple people going like, what? And asking you to...
Thinking it's a typo?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I get you. Also, I realized I was psychic at the age of 3. Are you sure? Like, I think I remember being 3 barely.
I don't remember being 3.
Oh.
I mean, I guess I do if I try. Really
well,
hard.
but you might actually be remembering when you were 5. It's impossible to really know what your memory is when you're that young. But I don't know. Maybe she's clearly a genius because she probably makes more money than me. Quote, it rides alongside the big 5, being able to see, hear, taste, touch, and smell. I would leave off the last one. I'd be like, hey, I don't want to smell the other realm, please. I just have a feeling that could be a horrible thing.
I think taste could also be pretty bad too.
Yeah, I feel like taste is more avoidable than smell. But of course, I'm thinking one-dimensionally. Ooh.
Exactly. So maybe the taste just gets in your mouth, whether you
God,
leave it open or not.
This is awful. Oh gosh, if that's real, she deserves every penny she gets. I don't get to choose when I start tasting the other dimension. Oh God, that sounds like when Skittles was trying really hard to advertise as if they were on Adult Swim. Like, that sounds like the kind of thing that would be in one of those weirdo commercials they did. I look forward to not consenting to tasting the other dimension. Okay. Plus, you have instinct and intuition. Those two ride on the same blade.
Okay.
Enmei, who has racked up a TikTok following with her medium insights, says her gift, it's in quotes in the article, gift feels like she can interact with other dimensions. Feels like. Okay. I wonder if the article is going to ask her why she doesn't use these insights to like win the lottery and then give it all to an AIDS charity. But whatever.
It doesn't work like that.
Because it never does.
Yeah.
Like I can jump really high, but not on a basketball court. It doesn't work there.
No.
It only works when no one is looking and it can't benefit me in any way.
Yeah.
And besides, my ability to jump high, she lives in Canada and you never met her.
Yeah.
The psychic, sorry.
It's okay.
This makes me mad. The psychic advisor said she was told off a lot as a child for what she would say to people, but people would also invite her parents to parties and ask them to bring Enmei along as a, quote, party favor. See, this all sounds fine. I don't understand why she would be a damaged person seeking out show business fame through being a psychic. I'd also like to know what she did for most of her life. Like, has she always been doing this, or did she just start doing this after she hit like near retirement age?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good question.
Because I could see somebody being like, I always wanted to do that, retirement age. Like, anyway, she thought, quote, do I have to bring balloons? My parents would say, no, Enmei, you are the party favor. I like this dehumanizing story. It's good.
Yeah.
You like that because it's usually a humanizing story. I like this dehumanizing story. I could walk by somebody and say, you're pregnant, you need a promotion, or you're getting a raise. I can walk by people and say that too. I don't know if it would be true.
Yeah, I mean, I can't, but
walk by somebody, go, you need a promotion. I guess they'd be like, you're right. I would like to have a promotion.
Yeah.
Quote, it was easy. Then there were the environments where people said how this is something that must be cast out of me and it was wrong. It would hurt my feelings.
Aww.
I get it. Some people love having the devil in them. On one occasion, Enmei told her teacher at school that she wouldn't be teaching the class the next day, and she was sent to the principal's office. Did she tell her, like, you won't be teaching here the next day? Or did she say, like, you're going to die? Like, because for the record, if a little child, like, Chell, if a little child walked up to you, looked up at you, like, tugged on your sleeve to get your attention and went, you won't be here tomorrow, how would you feel?
Honestly, I would just be like, okay.
I'd be terrified.
Just like, go back and sit down.
Children are so scary to me.
Yeah, they're scary.
But especially when they foretell things.
Yeah, I don't think I would believe that though.
No?
No.
You think you just let that be?
Yeah, I'd just be like, that's cool. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I would be like, but I'd be more afraid the child was going to kill me, because a child like stalking you to kill you is really scary to me.
It is scary. I just feel like I could take them though.
That's my point is, like, what do they know I don't? Because they think they can take me.
Yeah. But they're dumb because they're kids.
But this one can taste other dimensions, Chell.
Fine.
It evens the playing field a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In 5th grade, Enmei said she told her teacher she was, quote, not going to be with us tomorrow. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's, yeah. And I noticed they're not mentioning where this was. Like, where was Enmei being educated? Like, no, I mean, I'm not trying to be a jerk. It's like, but this is a mirror.co.uk. So she could be in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
She could be in any part of the United States. Mm-hmm. It seems like she's in an English speaking place.
Yeah.
But that's it. So like, I know it's terrible. The moment I saw her photos, I was like, oh yeah, Oregon. I'm not even joking. That was where I was like, she's in Oregon. That was my first thought. And now I'm curious. I wonder if that'll turn out to be true. Oregon, of course. But no, Oregon does not appear in this article. Anyway.
Oh, sorry.
I got excited. So anyway, back to the news story. I'm a little giggly. I apologize, everybody. But I also don't. She told you're not going to be with us tomorrow. She asked, how come? I said, you're just not feeling well, said Enmei.
Oh.
Was this after you gave her a cupcake? Like, because that's the thing. Mm-hmm. Like, did you just give the teacher a snack and then they ate it and you're like, you won't feel well? She said, Enmei, don't say that. I am fine. I'll be here for you. And then Enmei said, she tried to ignore me, but I think she felt something. The next day, she wasn't there.
Dun, dun, dun. She also sounds a little bit, like someone needs to tell her, like, you can't just go up to people and freak them out. And then you can't persist. Like, no.
Well, she was in 5th grade. So
5th grade is old enough to know that you might scare people by saying stuff like that, and you shouldn't do it unless asked.
But what if the spirits are like, tell this to her or your family dies, which I'm sure is what's going on.
Oh, well, then I guess we can give her a pass. No, you know what? Only if it's actually happened before that she didn't tell someone and then their family died. Or
like if you fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on 2 dead families.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the truth. After being dragged into the principal's office, she told him to check the tire on his car, telling him the left back passenger side was flat. Well, if the left back passenger side was flat, she could have just seen that walking in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it'd be another thing if she was like, it's slightly below optimal tire pressure. That would be impressive. It has a
slow leak.
Yeah.
It'll be flat by this evening.
It'll be flat tomorrow. Enmei said this was confirmed when her principal went to check his car. Enmei said she believes in multi-dimensional life, and we are all able to tune in and talk to loved ones who have passed away.
Oh.
This is where I get grumpy towards psychics, because I believe if somebody is benefiting off your desperate want to talk to someone who's passed away, I think that's one of the cruelest things ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I just do. That's sincerely how I feel. Anybody who's listening to this, if you've ever lost somebody close to you, you know how that pain, it never really goes away. And how nice it would be if somebody told you they could make that pain go away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm using serious voice.
Yeah.
Because I'm actually, no, but it really is something I've had a problem with for a very long time.
Yeah.
I once asked a psychic who said that she could tell the future if on September 10th, 2001, she just was using her tarot cards to hold up a wobbly table leg. And that's why she didn't think to tell anybody, that something was going to happen the next day.
Yeah.
And she got really mad. And then she said she did predict 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, any proof? Or okay, thanks for. She was very rude. Anyway, and then she threatened to sue me, but that's a whole other conversation. She said, time is an interesting constraint created by a Mayan calendar, and then we all operated on that. What? Was the Mayan calendar the first calendar?
I have no idea. Probably not. But
the other thing is other calendars, many of them would have had to have been created without influence.
Exactly.
From the Mayan calendar.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. The Mayans were very advanced in a lot of ways. So I wouldn't be surprised if they had like the earliest calendar. I think they did. That's why everybody cared about 2012. Because they'd only written their calendars up to 2012.
Yeah.
And people were like, it must be because we're going to all die and not because they just stopped, because they were already like 1,000 years or like 600 years past when they wouldn't even exist anymore. But yeah, so apparently, according to this, time is an interesting constraint created by a Mayan calendar that we all operated on.
Okay.
Quote, that became the truth. So yes, everyone can speak to other dimensions. My initial psychic experience was speaking to my dead relative at the age of 3. Sitting at my sandbox, I began to speak another language that I was not familiar with.
What language?
Oh, it answers that.
Oh.
Quote, my dad heard me speaking Chinese. Okay. I told my dad I was having a chat with his dad, and he was telling me a story about him when he was a little boy. I am half Chinese and half Japanese, but I don't speak the language, and never did again. That was the beginning of an understanding that there were other dimensions, spaces, time zones, not time zones.
Okay.
Time, zones, cultures, and countries that did not have any relevance to me. Quote, as if I could break through any barrier simply by listening to an inner voice that was greater than myself.
Alrighty.
Huh. I mean, your father was the person who could like be like, yeah, she was definitely speaking perfect Chinese. Definitely.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's a little bit odd. But I don't know. She's, in my estimation, probably a fraud, but just to be safe, give her all your money.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's
See
my
what she
official,
does.
that's my official thing. Am I too harsh on the psychics? I know that I don't usually throw around my like hardcore skepticism very much,
Mhm.
but I really have a disdain for psychics, for people who claim to be psychic and charge people money and all this stuff. I just think it's really cruel.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like that thing that you hate a lot that I know that you do and stuff.
What?
I don't know.
that actually threw me for a second. I was like, am I about to learn something about myself? Well said, Chell. Well said. Well, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back to wrap up this spooky news. But first, a word from the sponsors. All right, it's time we wrap up the spooky news. And the last story ended up getting me in a little bit of a serious mindset. So this story, I think, is a perfect wrap up because it's humorous and frustrating and joyous.
Oh.
Okay. So this one's from Huffington Post, from HuffPost.com. Bus 666 no longer goes to hell, Poland, after protests from Christian conservatives.
Oh man, I kind of heard about this.
Yeah, I'm guessing hell as in Helsinki.
No.
Right? No, it's just HEL. Hell.
Yeah.
Hell, Poland. Okay. After people protested having a bus number signifying the devil leading to a place that sounds like the word hell in English, it will run as bus 669. Nice. Starting on June 24th. So this is the last day. If you're listening to this, we're recording this on the 23rd, but they'll be hearing this much later.
Sorry, it's too late.
But I am so sorry. So I wanted to point this out, not only because I think it's hilarious that a bus going to hell is 666, but also because I feel like it's been forever since. So long story short, we grew up in the late 90s. I mean, like that's when we were like really aware was the 90s.
Yeah.
We were both born in the 80s, but we really grew up in the 90s. And in the 90s, any person who was just a big fuddy-duddy that didn't want anyone to have a good time or wanted to ruin something cool, they were all Christian conservatives. And now it's kind of like anybody who's a total fuddy-duddy who just doesn't want anybody to have fun tends to be somewhat more of a liberal, extremist instead of a conservative extremist. It just tends to be that way. So this story made me feel nostalgic. I was like, oh, Christian conservatives are ruining an awesome thing. Reminds me of being 12, Is that weird? But I really mean that. That's what made me interested in this. I was like, whoa, Christian conservatives protested this.
Yeah, I get it.
Reminds me of being but a boy in the Midwestern Ohio. All right. But honestly, that's why I picked this story. I was like, wow. It's like old school. The bus to the town of Hell on Poland's Baltic coast has long been popular with tourists, but some Christian conservatives have protested the number signifying the devil on a bus leading to a place that sounds like the word hell in English. The local bus operator, PKS, I don't know how to say it. It's GDYNIA.
I don't know.
Yeah. Announced this week that bus 666 will no longer run to hell. It said it had flipped the last number and would now run the line under the number 669. Yeah. Local media said the bus company acted under the pressure of Christian groups who had pushed for the change, but were already thinking of returning to the old number amid the public outcry over the change.
Yeah.
People want their devil. Let us have our devil.
Yeah.
We want our devilish trip to hell. Okay? It's not complicated. We just want to go to hell. And we want to ride on bus 666. I was so sad, by the way. Just random off point, but when I went to Chicago a week ago, or 2 weeks ago, there was an Interstate 69, and there was just no way for me to get a photo.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But it was real. It was there. Interstate 69.
I believe you.
It was so nice. Sorry. Not sorry, actually. Funny internet number. Did I tell you I was talking to one of Rachel's niece's nephews, and they don't even know, they just know 69 is funny, and they don't actually know what it means at all.
That's what I've heard. You didn't tell me, but yeah, they'll just say like nice, but they won't know.
Yeah, but the best part is like they think that it's an absurdity thing.
Mm-hmm.
That like just laughing at 69 is funny because it doesn't mean anything.
Oh.
And I was like, that's wholesome content.
Aw, they'll learn one day.
Oh, yes, they will. Oh, yes, they will. I love that there's a public outcry about bus 666. Yeah. I would be mad about it too.
Yeah, I mean, I would. I mean, I'm a little bit confused about the public outcry because I'm pretty sure hell is only hell in English, not in
I think language. The public outcry is that they find it funny.
Yeah.
I mean, because it said that they want to bring back the old number because of public outcry over the change. So I think that may have more to do with people do know what 666 means loosely, and they do know what hell means loosely in English. Mm-hmm. So it's just funny to them that like bus 666 goes to hell.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, because you have to think about how many foreign words you actually see in a day that you know what they mean because they're true. Always around.
Yeah.
But it's hard to imagine that like in other countries, like it's like when I watch anime with you and sometimes people just say a word in English.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, whoa. And then I remember how many times in a day-to-day life you might say a word that's Japanese or say a word that's Spanish or say a word that's French or Italian, you know? I mean, shoot, we did a whole episode about déjà vu once, and literally déjà vu, it has its own meaning in our language, but it's a French word.
Right. Right.
So but it's hard to imagine that when you're a native English speaker, that like in other countries, they have like slang that's the English word because they probably have heard it on television and movies.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. The local news portal, I'm not even going to try and say it, said that the line operated under the number 666 since 2006.
Wow.
Ooh, that was the year that we had 6606.
Whoa.
I remember because I went to the drive-in to see the Omen remake.
Oh.
On 6606, baby.
Wow.
It was fine. I actually like the Omen remake. First as a local joke before attracting riders from across Poland and beyond. Wow. Some people rode the bus simply to say they'd taken the 666 bus to hell, Polish media reported.
Aww.
Fronda, a Catholic publication who you can easily pronounce no matter where you're from, has for years called for the 666 bus to be renamed, arguing that it had satanic overtones and that, quote, to present the reality of eternal damnation as amusing in any way is just plain stupidity. Well, clearly, you don't know why jokes are fun. Yeah. They're fun in part because they're just plain stupidity.
Yeah.
But I think that he's right. I think they should change it to 669 and then just put a big thing on the side of the bus that says "Bus of the Beast." You know?
Yeah.
I wonder if these are the same people who are like, you can't have a 13th floor on this building. It's like, okay, but that just makes the 14th floor the 13th floor.
Mm-hmm.
That drives me crazy.
Yeah, me too.
You probably see that a lot more than I do, though, because you have a lot of older buildings and stuff out by Philly than in Dayton.
I really don't, or at least I don't pay attention to it at all.
I'm really stupid because as I said like, well, you know, based on how old they are. Yeah. Or if they've been remodeled and they've just changed the floor numbers because it's not about when it was built. It's about, there are numbers on walls and buttons on the elevator.
Yeah.
I suppose you could change that pretty easy. You know what I want to do is, and we should do this together. We should buy an office building, like a tall building, right? And we should change it so every floor is the 13th floor.
Okay.
So when you get on the elevator, it's just 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13. And then when people go, I'm so confused, we can go, it's bad luck. Making you confused. I don't know why that amuses me so deeply, but it really, truly does.
Okay, we can do it.
Okay, good. You're in?
Yeah.
I figure if you kick in like just $500,000, we're set.
Okay. Okay.
All right, awesome. Oh God, somebody's gonna actually think we like have that laying around. People make all kinds of weird assumptions when you work in media.
Yeah.
Like, as a filmmaker for a living, people tend to assume I'm either so poor it's truly upsetting, or I'm wealthy.
Yeah.
I once shot a commercial and in a airplane hangar. Because we were talking, it was for a hospital, and we were talking to a guy who had a health problem, but now he could fly airplanes again because he was well.
Yay.
So we rented the hangar, and we're allowed to use a couple of planes. And it was cool because the guy who owns the hangar was the one who would like move the planes around for us. He had like a little cart that he could hook to the planes to just scoot them over. And I would ask him, like, how much is that plane? Because they were all jets. They weren't, these were private jets. They were not like propeller, like Cessnas and stuff. So he would be like, oh yeah, this one's probably 6 million. This one's 3 million. This one's 14 million. It's just like, wow. None of them is sub $1 million.
Wow.
Yeah. So I took a photo of one of the planes because it had been moved to like the dead center of the thing. I took a picture of it and literally posted, brand new acquisition. I think I'll be very happy with it. My brother, my half brother, who we're not estranged, but we're not very close. He lives in New Hampshire. He wrote me and was like, bro, did you for real just get a plane? Like, that's so awesome. And I had to go, no, it was a joke. I guess some people don't realize they're impossibly expensive. Like, it's a joke. And he was like, oh, well, it was pretty cool. And I was like,
aww.
Like, and then I was like, man, does my little brother think that I've made millions of dollars, like tens of millions of dollars?
Well, he did.
And now he knows I'm just a liar.
Yeah.
A great big phony.
Yeah.
So let's see. The last line of this article is talking about the Fronda, the Catholic publication, said it lamented the fact that many Polish journalists, even Catholic ones, have taken pleasure in the joke. Oh, did somebody do a Satan? I'm sorry. The devil. So anyway, what do you have any interesting experiences with Satan?
Like
just the usual ones? Just like going to lunch or whatever.
Yeah. No. The only thing that I have that's even slightly related is that there's a cab line in Philly that's number is 215-666-6666.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
that's dope.
Lots of sixes. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you should call them when you need a cab. I don't know if they're good or not.
Just because you could remember the number.
Yeah.
Because of all those sixes. Yeah. Or you could just ask Siri to call the devil.
Yeah.
And it just calls them.
That'd be cool.
When you were this is something I don't really know that much about. So because you grew up in Central Jersey, and I grew up in North and Southwestern Ohio. Did anybody call you satanic at any point for being weird?
No.
Never?
I don't think so.
Not once?
I don't know.
And I mean anybody, a classmate, a teacher, anybody, not just like, not strictly like adults or something, but like we had students. I live kind of in the Bible Belt, but it's really not that bad. And I really kind of resent the term Bible Belt, but I do live in a place where there are a lot of, especially when I was a teenager, conservative Christians. Like when we had our biology classes, like we had students who would like opt out of the class when it talked about evolution, stuff like that. Whatever, it's whatever. But I remember I had long hair, and a boy with long hair is a problem, because you're the devil, you're a devil worshiper or whatever. And if you wore like band t-shirts, people will be like, that's satanic. And of course, when people get mad at things and call them satanic, your healthy natural instinct is to immediately put pentagrams on everything you have.
Yeah.
Like just put them all over. But yeah, some people would be like, oh, you're satanic. There was also, Marilyn Manson was really big at the time, and people felt like he was satanic and all this stuff. So it was just a weird, this is, 10, 12 years after the Satanic Panic. So people aren't like, oh, you're meeting with people and sacrificing babies, but they are like, oh, you're like secretly a Satanist though. Like you're secretly worshiping Satan. And I was like, yes, secretly, with a shirt that you claim means obviously that I worship Satan. So
they're just really smart though. So
well, it got to the point where it would be so fun to troll those people in school that me and some friends, like if we wrote anything on anything, it would always be 666 the devil. Like, because that was stupid. Like, it was like, why would you write the devil?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you would write like Satan or something, or no, we just write 666 the devil. That's all we would write on like our notebooks and our trapper keepers and in the like things in our locker and stuff. It would just be 666 the devil. Because I thought that was really funny that it was just like what they're afraid of.
Yeah.
Only. But that's also why I have a bad habit of anytime I'm handed writing utensils, the first thing I write is 666 the devil.
Oh.
Including one time, have you ever been to, I went on a date to the macaroni grill or what is that place? Macaroni
I think
warehouse
right.
or macaroni grill.
Oh, wait, are you trying to say something else? Wait,
maybe.
Because Cheesecake Factory?
Right.
Is that what
maybe
you
it was the Cheesecake Factory.
Or do you want macaroni grill?
Have you eaten at the Cheesecake Factory before?
Yeah.
Do they?
But I've also eaten. Sorry.
Do they allow you to draw on the tablecloth? Is it made of paper?
No, actually, I think that is the macaroni.
That's the macaroni grill.
Yeah.
Well, I was dating a very highfalutin woman, so she was like, "I want to go to the macaroni grill." That's actually way too mean. She like paid for herself. She was like super chill, but and I liked her. I went on like I dated her for like 7 months, but we went to macaroni grill, and yeah, they had the tablecloth is paper, and they give you crayons so you can like draw. And I just immediately, the second that they made it clear you could draw on the tablecloth, I was just writing 666 all over it. And she's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I don't know, just normal writing on stuff."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, okay." She was Jewish, so she was like, "I already love Satan." You know, she was. I like that because if you know anything about Judaism, you know that the actual response would be, "I don't believe in Satan." But instead it's like, "Oh, I'm Jewish, so I love him. I love the devil.
Yeah.
He's my best friend." Oh, sorry, I'm in a very goofy mood. And I don't know, I keep apologizing like people are going to be mad about it. And actually, now they will be.
Yeah.
Because now they know I'm worried about, them being mad.
Yeah. So now they're angry.
But I think, Chell, it's about time that we talk about another devil, a devil that you know some things about.
Yeah.
The Jersey Devil.
Yeah.
The legend of New Jersey, other than, mafia.
Yeah.
Honestly, like the greatest piece of New Jersey folklore, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, the Jersey Devil. So we're going to dive deep into the Jersey Devil and talk about your experiences growing up in Central Jersey and so much more after this quick break. In South Jersey and Philadelphia folklore, the Jersey Devil, also known as the Leeds Devil, is a legendary creature said to inhabit the forests of the Pine Barrens in South Jersey. The creature is often described as a flying biped with hooves, but there are many variations. Common descriptions are that of a bipedal kangaroo-like or wyvern-like creature with a horse or goat-like head, leathery bat-like wings, horns, small arms with clawed hands, legs with cloven hooves, and a forked or pointed tail. It has been reported to move quickly and is often described as emitting a high-pitched, blood-curdling scream. That is the first paragraph on the greatest source of information for anything there's ever been, Wikipedia. Michelle, I've always wanted to talk to you about the Jersey Devil.
Yeah.
Because you are from Jersey and you're from Central, right? Not South. You're like right in the middle, right?
Yeah.
That's where you were from, right?
Yeah.
So that means though that you were much like I lived in North Jersey, so like really Jersey Devil stuff was very far removed from. I mean, I lived really far north too. Like,
yeah,
I remember one time I missed the turn to go pay my rent, and I ended up in upstate New York.
Yeah, that could happen.
that did happen because it was like a little state route, and I missed the turn. I was like, "Oh, I'll have to find a spot to turn around," and then it was like, "Welcome to New York." I was like, "Oh, wow, I really do live very far north." So anyway, I want to, before we dig into the information that Wikipedia has, which I'm sure is completely accurate in every way, I want to know, first of all, how did you learn about the Jersey Devil being a child growing up in New Jersey?
Okay, so we've kind of talked about this a couple of times. I don't have any. We didn't do that. Like, you gotta understand, like, New Jersey is really, really dense. So South and Central.
I don't think everyone there is dense. Some of them are probably pretty smart.
Fine.
Or at the very least based.
Fine.
Sorry, I couldn't resist that pun. New Jersey is the most densely populated state in America, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, it's crazy how many people are there. That was the best part about living there, was that there were so many friends to make, so many like interesting. No, that was my favorite part of Jersey. And I feel like I could drive like from North Jersey all the way to South Jersey and literally like tell you who a friend is like off of the main highway the whole way down. I'm being serious. I loved living in Jersey for that. It was I had so many friends and it was so easy to make friends because just the denseness of the population alone meant that you were likely to find someone you got along with. Just statistics. Anyway, please continue.
So South and Central New Jersey are not similar, really. We didn't have pine barrens, any of that kind of stuff. Different lore, which was not any lore. But also, I was thinking about it, and probably the reason that we didn't talk about Jersey Devil or any of that stuff was because no one that I grew up near was from New Jersey.
They were all transplants?
Yeah, they were all from New York. Yeah. Or from different countries. So nobody, like, we didn't talk about like weird stuff that happened in the town because
is it safe to say? Oh, yeah, sorry.
The town basically hadn't, I mean, it existed as a very small town, but then there were huge developments built in it. So like no one, like most people didn't live there for generations or even a couple generations.
Is it safe to say that a large swath of the people who lived in this was Plainsboro? And it's not like doxing or anything. None of your family lives there anymore anyway.
Yeah.
But you're like, let's give your address real quick, just so people have a context. But it was Plainsboro, which is right next to Princeton. They're like sister cities, right?
I mean, if you called either of them a city, yeah.
But you know what I mean? Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is one of those shows where Chel's got a bug up her butt about being a butt. As my dog Chicano is headbutting my legs.
Aww.
I don't know what he wants down there, but he wants it. But no, so is it safe to say that like most of the people living there were either New York transplants or maybe Indian or East Asian immigrants?
Yeah,
no, it makes sense because it was so close to a really good university.
I mean, that might be why, but I actually don't think that was I mean, it was really close to New York, so a lot of the people's parents that I grew up with worked in New York City.
Wow, that's a hell of a commute.
Yeah, but we were right on like a train line.
Yeah, and you
much.
save a shitload of money living in Plainsboro. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really not anymore, but
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I get that. I paid my bills when I lived in Jersey, unfortunately. Anyway.
Yeah, but so a lot of them worked in New York. Some people worked in Philly. And and then also this school district, the West Windsor Plainsboro School District was and still is a really good school district.
Yeah.
So that's why people were coming specifically to that area and not to the surrounding areas like Hamilton and South Brunswick. Sorry, South Brunswick.
Take that, South Brunswick.
Yeah, sorry, South Brunswick.
Well, and that makes sense. The reason I was saying like maybe they were Indian, Asian, East Asian is because around here, when we got our huge populations of transplanted people, it was mostly somewhat near the Air Force Base, which is also near the major college. So you would have entire, enclaves of Asian neighborhoods. In fact, to the point where, and it's still the case here, the major multiplexes will show Bollywood movies from India, and it gets packed because the communities are huge here.
Yeah.
And that was what kind of started it was, like Fairborn and Beaver Creek and surrounding areas are nice and relatively cheap and very close to the Air Force Base, which is a good reason to move here, and to Wright State University, which is also a good reason to move here. And obviously a lot of Asian immigrants are heavily influenced by education as to where they decide to settle.
Right.
So that's why I kind of thought maybe because Princeton's a very good college.
Yeah. So I think more likely it has to do with, primary education.
Oh, yeah.
And
in
the
primary
city.
education. Yeah. Well, and the city brings people from all over. I was just curious because, I thought about it. I was like, oh, yeah, because around here, it's like when an area is really up and coming, you get like, big swaths of. It's funny. I'm trying not to sound racist because I have nothing mean to say about the Asian people, but I almost said those people because I couldn't think of a better way. But no, like Indian people, Asian people, Southeast Asian people, it's good schools, great school to become a doctor from, especially. Or go to film school for no apparent reason, is the other thing to do at Wright State. But anyway, so we've gotten through yet again that your childhood was no way fun.
No.
And so when did you first hear of the Jersey Devil, since you didn't hear from it in any cool or human way?
I have no idea. Maybe high school? I don't know. I have no idea. It's like, I just kind of know about it, but
it was in television and movies referenced. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Real. Wow. Because that's how I found out about was movies and TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I actually became extremely aware of the Jersey Devil was when I saw the film The Last Broadcast, which you probably haven't seen it because it's not a massive hit movie, but it was a found footage movie that came out right around the same time as the Blair Witch Project.
Oh, okay.
They weren't copying each other.
Mm-hmm.
They were just created at the same time, but the Blair Witch Project was more of a found footage movie, and The Last Broadcast was more of a mockumentary. It was more of a fake documentary.
Okay.
It was like assembled, but it was about people from Philly and South Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a cable access show and all this stuff, and they go into the woods to find the Jersey Devil, and then horrible things happen.
Yeah.
And it's honestly a very good movie. If you get a chance to watch The Last Broadcast, it's especially good because that these are, like, for lack of a better term, kids making a cool movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it really was good. I honestly loved that movie until the last shot.
Oh.
And then it fell for me. So overall, that movie's great.
Okay.
But I highly recommend The Last Broadcast if you're a movie nut out there and you're like, oh, I haven't heard of that. Then yeah, you should check it out. You'll probably dig it. But that was how I first really heard things about the Jersey Devil. And then ironically, I learned even more about the Jersey Devil when I moved to New Jersey when I turned 18.
Oh.
Because there was a creepy old man who used to sit on the corner in Butler, New Jersey, and he would just rant and rave about it.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding. I listened to a podcast.
Oh.
And I wish that were true.
Yeah.
No, I listened to so when I moved to Jersey, I wanted to know stuff about Jersey, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I started searching just things about Jersey, not just scary things, but what's good food here, stuff like that's how I learned about the Taylor ham, egg, and cheese sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
And I found a podcast, which they're kind of sort of still around, called Hometown Tales.
Okay.
And it was two guys based out of Jersey. I want to say it was like the Montclair area of Jersey, based in Jersey. And they would sit down every week and they would talk about folklore. And of course, they leaned heavily into Jersey folklore.
Right.
Because they're both in Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And they would talk about, everything from the Jersey Devil to the Taylor ham, egg, and cheese being only in New Jersey to the concept that all diners serve pea soup on Wednesdays, I think it was, or Thursdays. They literally called every diner they could find in the phone book and went to 5 diners.
Wow.
And they all, on the day, I don't remember which day of the week it was that was claimed, but on the day that it's claimed that the myth is that it's by law, that for some reason there's a law that they have to have pea soup. But they found that every diner they called had pea soup that day.
Wow.
So who knows? It just kind of became a thing and now it's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Deal with it. Chell, please deal with it.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Do you like pea soup? I like pea soup.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, good. Sorry, I got excited. I am a little hungry. I've been eating mostly broth.
Yeah.
So with that all said, what do you know about the Jersey Devil that you would like to share? Or what have you heard or anything like that? Now that we've established that you had a very boring childhood.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a thingy and it flies and it looks weird and it scares people and it lives in the Pine Barrens.
And what do you know about the Pine Barrens and the Pineys?
So it's a place in New Jersey with lots of pine trees.
Yes.
In South Jersey, and there's sand. There's a lot of sand too, because it's kind of by the water, but not really. And there are just communities of people who live in the Pine Barrens, and they're called Pineys.
And they're not nice people, according to the legends.
They're probably very nice people.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read a little bit about the origin of the Jersey Devil, and we'll both learn, because I only know broad strokes. I've never sat and read about the Jersey Devil.
Okay.
Do you have any idea what the story says made the Jersey Devil at all?
No, but I know what I think is the Jersey Devil.
We'll get to the cranes and everything in a minute.
Yeah.
I would love to hear your theories. But first, we want to dive into the folklore, because that's the most fun part.
Oh.
Is the stuff that's probably almost certainly made up.
Mm-hmm.
The origin of the legend, the Lenape people who originally inhabited the Pine Barrens believed the area was inhabited by a spirit called Msing. It's M''SING, Msing, which sometimes took the form of a deer-like creature with leathery wings.
Ooh.
That's a hell of a sentence. Deer-like creature with leathery wings.
Mm-hmm.
So now, if you want to go in, now we're going to go into the popular folklore, the kind of American folklore.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about Mother Leeds' 13th child. And this is what I had always heard.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you remember this now that I've said it.
Mm-hmm.
According to popular folklore, the Jersey Devil originated with a Pine Barrens resident named Jane Leeds, known as Mother Leeds. The legend states that Mother Leeds had 12 children and, after finding she was pregnant for the 13th time, cursed the child in frustration, crying that the child would be the devil. In 1735, Mother Leeds was in labor on a stormy night while her friends gathered around her. Born as a normal child, the 13th child changed to a creature with hooves, a goat's head, bat wings, and a forked tail.
Oh.
Growling and screaming, the child beat everyone with its tail before flying up the chimney and heading into the pines.
Aww.
In some versions of the tale, Mother Leeds was supposedly a witch, and the child's father was the devil himself. Some versions of the legend are also state that there was a subsequent attempt by local clergymen to exorcise the creature from the Pine Barrens. So that's basically the story. This version I heard was that after her 12th child, it was like really awful, that she said, if I have another child, may he be a devil.
Mm-hmm.
That was the version I heard, that was the curse, quote unquote, was that. I like how, like, it's like magically before like 1800, if you just said a thing, it was a curse.
I was going to say, like, that's all you got to do?
Yeah, you're just like, it should be a devil then.
Okay.
It's like, I wanted that to work. I want to be like eating a dozen donuts and be like, if I eat this 12th donut, may it be made of diamonds and gold.
And then you die?
Well, then I'd bite into it and be like, whoa, this is full of diamonds and gold. And then I have diamonds and gold.
Okay, fine.
So, and maybe only eat a little bit of it as a treat.
Okay, good.
So let's dive in a little bit to the history of the Leeds family.
Okay.
Prior to the early 1900s, the Jersey Devil was referred to as the Leeds Devil or the Devil of Leeds, either in connection with the local Leeds family or the eponymous southern New Jersey town, Leeds Point. Have you been to Leeds Point?
No.
Oh.
Sorry.
Mother, you let me down. You know what? We're going to do that someday. We're going to make a special for the Patreon, and it's going to be you and me on the search for the Jersey Devil.
Okay.
You actually look excited. I would do that. That'd be fun.
Let's go places and do stuff.
Since we sadly can't really visit Centralia anymore, that'll have to be the next best thing.
Yeah.
Mother Leeds has been identified by some as the real-life Deborah Leeds, on grounds that Deborah Leeds' husband, Japhet Leeds, that's a good name, good strong name, named 12 children in the will he wrote during 1736. That does kind of line up. Which is compatible with the legend. Thanks. Yeah. Deborah and Japhet Leeds also lived in the Leeds Point section of what is now Atlantic County, New Jersey, which is commonly the location of the Jersey Devil story. We could go to Atlantic City too.
Aww.
That would be fun, because I would just like buy you all the like really cheesy Atlantic City tourist stuff. So you're just like wearing like a white ball cap and like a t-shirt that says I love slots, but as if it was like sluts, but it's slots. Or like, oh no, or like I'm just here for the slots.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm sure that exists. If it doesn't, it will by the time the show airs.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Atlantic City?
Yes, but not like Atlantic City. I just visited someone who was there, but not to like casinos and stuff.
I once was hanging out in South Jersey and I had some extra time to kill. Mm-hmm. So I decided, I didn't go to Atlantic City. I went near it, but I just went on hotels.com and I was like, where's the cheapest okay hotel? Mm-hmm. And because I had nowhere I had to be, I was like, wherever it is, as long as it's noticeably cheap. Mm-hmm. And the place I found was like a Holiday Inn, but it was on the other side of the bridge that goes into Atlantic City, basically.
Okay.
So from my room, at night, I could see Atlantic City clear as day, ironically, because it was lit up completely. I was so close to Atlantic City, I could read one of the major billboards that was electronic. Just barely, but I could make out letters in it. Wow. So that's the closest I've been to Atlantic City. And I was like, wow, they weren't kidding though. During slow times in Atlantic City, the nearby hotels are dirt cheap because they're really overflow hotels. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that's my Atlantic City experience. We're totally going to Atlantic City. Brian Regal, a historian of science at Keene University, theorizes that the story of Mother Leeds, rather than being based on a single historical person, originated from colonial southern New Jersey religio-political disputes that became the subject of folklore and gossip among the local population.
Okay.
So what they're saying is there's a bunch of yentas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A bunch of Catholic yentas, probably, actually. According to Regal, folk legends concerning these historical disputes evolved through the years and ultimately resulted in the modern popular legend of the Jersey Devil during the early 20th century. Regal contends that colonial-era political intrigue involving early New Jersey politicians Benjamin Franklin and Franklin's rival almanac publisher Daniel Leeds, who died in 1720, resulted in the Leeds family being described as monsters. And it was Daniel Leeds' negative description as the Leeds Devil rather than any actual creature that created the later legend of the Jersey Devil.
Huh.
That's really interesting because I watched, I'm a fan of Reason magazine, mm-hmm. and which is like a libertarian rag. And they once did a political ad because it was during, I want to say it was in 2016, when people were talking about all the mudslinging, how nasty politics are now. Mm-hmm. So they made modern political advertisements, but they were using documented campaign ads from the past. And it was so much crueler than what happens here. It was just straight up calling people rapists and child murderers. Wow. and homosexuals and stuff. It wasn't hinted, and it wasn't mm-hmm. So-and-so said this, but really it was so-and-so said he wanted to help taxation, but all he really did was help himself kill prostitutes. And you'd be like, is this based on anything? So I'm not surprised that if Benjamin Franklin had a rival, that he would smear the hell out of him mm-hmm. or into him. Do you like that? Like that turn of phrase?
Sure.
Because he called him a devil. Okay, fine. Whatever. You know what? No, fine. No, it's wasted on. It's wasted. It's fine. Much like Mother Leeds of the Jersey Devil myth, Daniel Leeds' third wife had given birth to 9 children. A large number of children even for the time. Leeds' second wife and first daughter had both died during childbirth. Leeds and his family were prominent in South Jersey and the Pine Barrens area. As a royal surveyor with strong allegiance to the British Crown, Leeds had surveyed and acquired land in the Egg Harbor area, located within the Pine Barrens. Mm-hmm. I think I stayed in Egg Harbor. I think that's where my hotel was, actually.
Oh, okay.
Or near that, because that sounds really familiar. The land was inherited by Leeds' sons and family and is now known as Leeds Point, one of the areas in the Pine Barrens currently most associated with the Jersey Devil legend and alleged Jersey Devil sightings. That's where we're going. We're going to Leeds Harbor or Leeds Point. Sorry, Egg Harbor and Leeds Point. We're going there.
Okay.
We're going there, man. And we're getting a Taylor ham, egg, and cheese while we're at it. Oh,
I know where a Wawa is around there.
Perfect. Then we have sustenance. We can survive this trip, I say. But actually, we're going to take a really quick break, and then we're going to dive deeper into The Jersey Devil. All right, we are back and diving deeper into the Jersey Devil. Michelle, are you ready? Do you have your Jersey Devil spray on? The kind that gets rid of them, not attracts them.
Oh man, why didn't you tell me that earlier?
I like the idea that it's like you just have two bottles in your bedroom, one that says Jersey Devil with like a plus and one that says Jersey Devil with a negative, and you're just like, this one.
He said to wear my Jersey Devil spray.
So, starting in the 17th century, English Quakers established settlements in southern New Jersey, the region in which the Pine Barrens are located. Yay. Daniel Leeds, a Quaker and a prominent person of pre-revolution colonial southern New Jersey, became ostracized by his Quaker congregation after his 1687 publication of almanacs containing astrological symbols and writings.
Oh.
Wow. They were like, look at this evil you've published. Leo, today you will face challenges. Apostate! Like that's how I imagine it went down entirely. In every way.
Yeah.
Today you will face struggles. Leeds's fellow Quakers deemed the astrology in these almanacs as too pagan or blasphemous, and the almanacs were censored and destroyed by the local Quaker community.
Wow.
Yeah, like these folks, I mean, they're kind of rough. Still like their oats, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In response to and in spite of this censorship, Leeds continued to publish even more esoteric astrological Christian writings and became increasingly fascinated with Christian occultism, Christian mysticism, cosmology, demonology, and angelology. That's what it says, angelology.
Wow.
And you can't spell angelology without lol. And natural magic.
Oh.
He was delving, man.
Mm-hmm.
In the 1690s, after his almanacs and writings were further censored as blasphemous or heretical by the Philadelphia Quaker meeting, Leeds continued to dispute with the Quaker community, converting to Anglicanism and publishing anti-Quaker tracts criticizing Quaker theology and accusing Quakers of being anti-monarchists.
Oh no.
Nothing is more fun than going down the rabbit hole of Christian sects. Mm-hmm. That's sects, although the other one is also very interesting, but for different reasons. But no, like different Christian sects, because it's like the Quakers are worried about him being anti-monarchist, but Quakers are a religious extreme group back and then. Yeah. They were somewhat religious extremists and were looked down upon by monarchs generally.
Yeah.
That's what led to them being in America.
Yeah.
Was that it was like, look, nobody likes you guys. So like get on a boat and probably die. That's what we want. Like I would take that personally, but whatever. But that's one of the big ones is that he accused the Quakers of being anti-monarchists. Why wouldn't they be anti-monarchists?
Yeah, that's weird.
I mean, I'm an anti-monarchist and not a Quaker yet, but the Quakers are welcome to try. In the ensuing dispute between Leeds and the southern New Jersey Quakers over Leeds's accusations, Leeds was endorsed by the much maligned British Royal Governor of New Jersey, Lord Cornbury. Ah, very nice to meet you, Ms. Adler. I'm Lord Cornbury.
That's weird.
I mean, I'm from the English Cornburys.
Oh, okay.
Perhaps you've heard of my other family, the Wild Thornberries.
Oh, okay. Now
yes,
I feel better.
People always know about them first. Go to hell, Nigel, you and your stupid daughter. Anyway, keep being New Jersey. Yeah, very good. Sorry, Lord Cornbury, despised among the Quaker communities. Oh, wow. Yeah, maybe they were anti-monarchist. Good on them. Leeds also worked as a counselor to Lord Cornbury about this time. Considering Leeds as a traitor for aiding the crown and rejecting Quaker beliefs, the Quaker Burlington meeting of southern New Jersey subsequently dismissed Leeds as evil.
Jeez.
You know, I don't know. If he's siding with the monarchy in pre-revolutionary America, GTFO.
Yeah.
In 1700, the local South Jersey Quaker community retaliated against Leeds' anti-Quaker tracts with their own tract, Satan's Harbinger Encountered, Be Something by way of answer to Daniel Leeds. They had a way with titles.
Yeah.
Which publicly accused Leeds of working for the devil.
Oh.
Wow. During I didn't know any of this, by the way. Like, this is actually very fascinating to me. During 1716, Daniel Leeds' son, Titan Leeds. That's a name.
Yeah.
Titan Leeds.
Leeds.
Yeah. Titan Leeds inherited his father's almanac business, which continued to use astrological content and eventually competed with Benjamin Franklin's popular Poor Richard's Almanac.
Oh.
Ooh. The competition between the two men intensified when, during 1733, Franklin satirically used astrology in his almanac to predict Titan Leeds' death on October of that same year. I told you they get nasty.
Yeah.
That's so good. like imagine for a moment, everybody. Just take a moment and imagine that, like, I'm dating myself, but back when, like, Turner Broadcasting had was run by Ted Turner. Imagine Ted Turner went on CNN and said, and next week, and just reported, like, and this just in, Rupert Murdoch is dead. You'd be like, what? And he'd be like, yeah, the owner of News Corp and Fox, he's dead. Yeah. Although he did, like, come out and say, like, hey, Rupert Murdoch, I want to box you. So he may be a bad example. He was a bit old school in that way. But yeah, just like, according to our astrologist, you're going to die. Perry. Though Franklin's prediction was intended as a joke at his competitor's expense and a means to boost almanac sales, Titan Leeds was apparently offended at the death prediction. What a snowflake, right?
Yeah, really.
Publishing a public admonishing of Franklin as a fool and a liar.
Oh.
In a published response, you got to be careful too. Liar, that's actually libelous. Calling someone a fool, it's like you can't really prove that someone's not a fool or is a fool in a court, but liar, people could sue you for calling them liars. In a published response, Franklin mocked Titan Leeds' outrage and humorously suggested that, in fact, Titan Leeds had died in accordance with the earlier prediction and was thus writing his almanacs as a ghost resurrected from the grave to haunt and torment Franklin.
Wow.
All right, I know that if I existed in that time, I would be treated as less than human, but I wish I lived then. Just for the lulz. Yeah. Just for that. Just so I could read these almanacs and be like, damn. Wow. I love that Franklin's joke is like, you did die and now you're a ghost haunting me.
Yeah.
Franklin continued to jokingly refer to Titan Leeds as a ghost even after Titan Leeds' actual death in 1738.
Oh, man.
Well, wow, he didn't live much longer after that. Like, he only lived like 5 more years after they said he was gonna die. I don't know how old he was though.
Yeah.
Daniel Leeds' blasphemous and occultist reputation and his pro-monarchy stance in the largely anti-monarchist colonial South of New Jersey, combined with Benjamin Franklin's later continuous depiction of his son Titan Leeds as a ghost, may have originated or contributed to the local folk legend of a so-called Leeds devil lurking in the Pine Barrens.
Maybe.
So it seems that Benjamin Franklin continued to make fun of Titan Leeds after he died. Like, kept like going, oh, Titan Leeds is ghost here again, being a little bitch.
Yeah.
Man, that's cold-blooded.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm shocked, but I don't know. I think I might respect that almost because it's so unbelievably cruel.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel.
Man. During 1728, Titan Leeds began to include the Leeds family crest on the masthead of his almanacs. The Leeds family crest depicted a wyvern, a bat-winged dragon-like legendary creature that stands upright on 2 clawed feet. Regal notes that am I saying wyvern, right? Yeah, wyvern.
I don't think so, but
okay, fine. Now I gotta find out. You're supposed to be the fact checker.
Oh.
You're like, oh God, I never once knew that. Wyvern.
Okay.
It's wyvern. Wyvern.
Okay.
The Leeds family crest depicted a wyvern, a bat-winged, dragon-like legendary creature that stands upright on 2 clawed feet. Regal notes that the wyvern on the Leeds family crest is reminiscent of the popular descriptions of the Jersey Devil. That is true. That's a fair point. The inclusion of this family crest on Leeds' almanacs may have further contributed to the Leeds family's poor reputation among locals and possibly influenced the popular descriptions of the Leeds Devil or Jersey Devil. The fearsome appearance of the crest's wyvern and the increasing animosity among local South Jersey residents towards royalty, aristocracy, and nobility with whom family crests were associated may have helped facilitate the legend of the Leeds Devil and the association of the Leeds family with devils and monsters.
Yeah.
I never would have guessed when it was like, so what really caused the Jersey Devil? I would not have guessed politics.
Yeah, me neither, actually.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah.
Not even a little bit. So now we're going to go into the more information about the Leeds Devil.
Okay.
Regal notes that by the late 1700s and early 1800s at the latest, the Leeds Devil had become ubiquitous ubiquitous sounds wrong, but it's right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
An ubiquitous legendary monster or ghost story in the southern New Jersey area. In the early to mid 19th century, stories continued to circulate in southern New Jersey of the Leeds Devil, a, quote, monster wandering the Pine Barrens. An oral tradition of Leeds Devil monster/ghost stories became well established in the Pine Barrens area. Although the Leeds Devil legend has apparently existed since the 18th century, Regal states that the more modern depiction of the Jersey Devil, as well as how pervasive the Jersey Devil name has become, first became truly standardized in current form during the early 20th century. So that's when it became the Jersey Devil.
Okay.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, why not?
During the pre-revolutionary period, this is writings from his name, Regal. During the pre-revolutionary period, the Leeds family, who called the Pine Barrens home, soured its relationship with the Quaker majority. The Quakers saw no hurry to give their former fellow religionist an easy time in circles of gossip. His wives had all died, as had several children. His son Titan stood accused by Benjamin Franklin of being a ghost. The family crest had winged dragons on it. In a time when thoughts of independence were being born, these issues made the Leeds family political and religious monsters. Wow, so it was about him being a Tory.
Yeah.
You remember what a Tory is, right?
I think so.
Or a loyalist?
Yeah.
The people who stuck by England during the Revolution.
Yeah.
Wow. From all this over time, the legend of the Leeds Devil was born. References to the Jersey Devil do not appear in newspapers or other printed material until the 20th century. The first major flap came in 1909. It is from these sightings that the popular image of the creature, bat-like wings, horse head, claws, and general air of a dragon became standardized. Wow. I mean, this is actually really fascinating. Indeed, many references to a Leeds Devil or Devil of Leeds appear in earlier printed material prior to the widespread usage of the Jersey Devil name. During 1859, the Atlantic Monthly published an article detailing the Leeds Devil folktales popular among Pine Barren residents, or, quote, pine rats. What it says, pine rats. I'm guessing that was the first term for pinies.
I guess
pine rats.
Yeah.
Pine rats. If anybody lives in the Pine Barrens, let us. Yep, I looked up the pine rats, and it goes straight to piney.
Oh, okay.
On Wikipedia, so it's another word for piney. Poor pinies. A newspaper from 1887 describes sightings of a winged creature referred to as the Devil of Leeds, allegedly spotted near the Pine Barrens and well known among the local populace of Burlington County, New Jersey.
Yay! Oh, really?
Yeah. Were you in Burlington County?
No,
Okay.
but my mom was for a little while.
That's where I remember that. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's another bit from that book that Regal wrote. Whenever we went near it, from the quote of gosh, I'm sorry. My brain is a little bit mush from being sick all week.
That's okay.
But this is from Atlantic Monthly. Whenever he went near it, it would give a most unearthly yell that frightened the dogs. It whipped at every dog on the place. Quote, "That thing," said the colonel, quote, "is not a bird nor an animal, but is the Leeds devil according to the description, and it was born over in Evesham, Burlington County 100 years ago." Or is that Evesham?
I don't know.
There is no mistake about it. I never saw the horrible critter myself, but I can remember well when it was roaming around in Evesham woods 50 years ago, and when it was hunted by men and dogs and shot at by the best marksmen there were in all of South Jersey, but could not be killed.
Oh.
There isn't a family in Burlington or any of the adjoining counties that does not know of the Leeds devil, and it was the bugaboo to frighten children with when I was a boy.
Okay.
So it was their La Llorona.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, be careful if you misbehave, the Jersey Devil will drown you like it's children. Wait, no, that's not how it would go. But I love that stuff. I love stories meant to just scare children into acting right.
I know you do.
Because it worked on me, sort of. I mean, I still went into show business, so it didn't work perfectly. But all right, so now we're getting into reported sightings.
Okay.
There are many claims of sightings and occurrences involving the Jersey Devil. According to legend, while visiting the Hanover Mill Works to inspect his cannonballs being forged, Commodore Stephen Decatur sighted a flying creature and fired a cannonball directly upon it to no effect.
Uh-oh.
That would have been like one of the most powerful weapons known to man at that time, was a cannon.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he just missed it.
Oh, I'm sure he missed it and didn't want to record that he missed it, but still.
Yeah.
Joseph Bonaparte, elder brother of Napoleon, is also claimed to have seen the Jersey Devil while hunting on his Bordentown estate in 1820.
Wow.
During 1840, the Jersey Devil was blamed for several livestock killings. Similar attacks were reported during 1841, accompanied by tracks and screams.
Wow. Tracks.
In Greenwich Township, in December 1925, a local farmer shot an unidentified animal as it attempted to steal his chickens and then photographed the corpse. Afterward, he claimed that none of 100 people he showed it to could identify it.
But we don't get to see it today.
Maybe we do. Let me see if I can find it. I'm going to try 1925 Jersey Devil photo. Man claims to have photographed the mythical Jersey Devil. Oh, well, that's not from that time period. I don't think we have it.
Oh.
Huh. I guess we could have just kept reading to find out, but whatever. Let's see. On July 27th, 1937, an unknown animal with red eyes seen by residents of Downingtown, Pennsylvania, was compared to the Jersey Devil by a reporter for the Pennsylvania Bulletin. In 1951, a group of Gibbstown, New Jersey boys claimed to have seen a monster matching the devil's description, and claims of a corpse matching the Jersey Devil's description arose in 1957. During 1960, tracks and noises heard near Mays Landing were claimed to be from the Jersey Devil. During the same year, the merchants around Camden offered a $10,000 reward for the capture of the Jersey Devil, even offering to build a private zoo to house the creature if it was captured.
Wow.
Do you think, I mean, I would assume the Jersey Devil would not hang in Camden now.
Yeah, I was going to say that maybe if they had caught the Jersey Devil, Camden would be a different place than it is today.
For those who don't know, Camden is not known for being a happy place to live.
No.
So now we get into a wave of sightings that started in 1909.
Oh, okay.
During the week of January 16th through 23rd, 1909, newspapers published hundreds of claimed encounters with the Jersey Devil from all over South Jersey and the Philadelphia area.
Interesting.
That's a lot. I mean, like hundreds.
Yeah.
Among these alleged encounters were claims the creature attacked a trolley car in Haddon Heights and a social club in Camden.
What?
What, do you hang out in Haddon Heights?
Oh, that's where somebody that I know lives. I'm not doxing people. So.
Don't dox anybody, please.
Yeah.
But what is their first and last name?
Okay, it's okay.
Police in Camden and Bristol, Pennsylvania supposedly fired on the creature to no effect.
Wow.
Other reports initially concerned unidentified footprints in the snow, but soon sightings of creatures resembling the Jersey Devil were being reported throughout South Jersey and as far away as Delaware.
Oh, that's not that far.
I mean, and Western Maryland.
Okay, that's a little bit farther. No, I mean,
it's further than Philly.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, actually, Delaware to South Jersey might be closer than Philly. So, whatever.
Fair enough. During this period, the widespread newspaper coverage created fear throughout the Delaware Valley, prompting a number of schools to close and workers to stay home.
Oh, wow.
Makes sense. I'm assuming for 2 weeks to flatten the monster curve. Too soon? Vigilante groups and groups of hunters roamed the pines and countrysides in search of the devil. During this period, it is rumored that the Philadelphia Zoo posted a $10,000 reward for the creature. The offer prompted a variety of hoaxes, including a kangaroo equipped with artificial claws and bat wings.
Aww.
That's pretty cool. Like a Fiji mermaid, but it's a Jersey Devil kangaroo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it said 1909. So let's find out what $10,000 was in 1909.
Okay.
Because I'm curious with inflation.
I would take $10,000 today. So.
Yeah, me too. But what do you think the equivalent purchasing power is?
$50,000.
$334,205.49.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, inflation's a hell of a thing. All right.
Yeah.
So now we're getting into the description and explanation of what the Jersey Devil might be.
Okay.
And I know you have thoughts on this.
Uh-huh.
And they're very serious.
Yeah.
But first, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back to look into what could be the Jersey Devil after these words. All right. Chell, are you ready to blow the lid off of this mystery?
Sure. Let's do it.
You ready to find out what the Jersey Devil really is?
Sure.
Okay. I know you have a theory. And I'm assuming that if it'll probably come up in this list of explanations. And if it doesn't, then that means that's your time to shine. You crazy diamond. All right. So skeptics believe the Jersey Devil to partially be nothing more than a creative manifestation upon the imaginations of the early English settlers in South Jersey, with plausible natural explanations, including bogeyman stories. It's with one O. Boogeyman stories created and told by bored Pine Barren residents as a form of children's entertainment, the byproduct of the historical local disdain for the Leeds family, the misidentification of known animals, and rumors based on common negative perceptions of the local rural population of the Pine Barrens, known as Pineys. So the first time I asked somebody when I was living in Jersey who lived in Jersey, I asked them like what they thought of the Jersey Devil. They said, I don't know, but watch out for those Pineys. That was like literally what they had to say. So, have you had any experiences with Pineys?
No.
The fright, you know what? I like to joke that your life is boring, but I think in reality, it's just that my life is highly reckless.
I mean, I don't know.
Because I have stories of just like every stupid thing that you can do. The frightening reputation of the Pine Barrens may indeed have contributed to the Jersey Devil legend. Historically, the Pine Barrens were considered inhospitable land. Gangs of highwaymen, such as the politically disdained Loyalist brigands, known as the Pine Robbers, were known to rob and attack travelers passing through the Barrens.
Wow.
During the 1700s and 1800s, residents of the isolated Pine Barrens were deemed the dregs or outcasts of society. Poor farmers, fugitives, brigands, Native Americans, poachers, moonshiners, runaway slaves, and deserting soldiers.
Oh.
It's quite a list.
Sounds like nice people.
Yeah, they all sound like people I'd want to hang out with.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not like brigands or whatever. But
I was going to say moonshiners.
Oh, why? They're probably super nice.
They're just going to keep offering me alcohol.
But that's only because they're trying to be nice. I bet I bet you could be like, no, thank you. But if you have any fried chicken, let me know. And they'd be like, oh, we got fried chicken. Because this is moonshiners from back in the day. I know you're a vegetarian, but back then you wouldn't have been allowed to.
Yeah.
You would have been a witch.
I know.
So-called Pineys have sometimes fostered certain frightening stories about themselves and the Pine Barrens to discourage outsiders or intruders from entering the Barrens. Pineys were further demonized and vilified after 2 eugenics studies were published during the early 20th century, which depicted Pineys as congenital idiots and criminals.
Jeez.
As seen in the research performed on the Kallikak family by Henry H. Goddard, which is now considered biased, inaccurate, unscientific, and most likely falsified.
Wow.
Wait. So it's biased, inaccurate, unscientific, and most likely falsified. I feel like that's, okay. Like, I get you. It's important to remember that in the early 20th century, eugenics was considered like a somewhat normal theory of how humans work. It was much less fringe. Now it's completely fringe, but back then people used to kind of buy it. Obviously, it leads to racism and stuff, so it's not a great concept. But you'd be people would be shocked how many historical figures they liked were eugenicists. To an extent. I don't want to bring up any because it's very political. But no, it's like it was just a thing people believed that was not right. And there's plenty of them out there. Jeff Brunner of the Humane Society of New Jersey thinks the Sandhill crane is partially the basis of the Jersey Devil stories, adding, quote, "There are no photographs, no bones, no hard evidence whatsoever, and worst of all, no explanation of its origins that doesn't require belief in the supernatural." Outdoorsman and author Tom Brown Jr. spent several seasons living in the wilderness of the Pine Barrens. He recounts occasions where terrified hikers mistook him for the Jersey Devil after he covered his whole body with mud to repel mosquitoes. Well, okay, like, some of that's on you, pal.
Yeah.
That's weird. Okay. I wonder what year that was. I'm guessing that was the early 20th century and not like 2017.
I hope not, but you never know.
I kind of hope it was 2017. Last year, author Tom Brown Jr. Medical sociologist Robert E. Bartholomew and author Peter Hassel cite the infamous 1909 series of sightings of the Jersey Devil and the subsequent public panic on a classic example of mass hysteria begun by a regional urban legend.
Sure, yeah.
Once it's in all the newspapers, that mass hysteria is not far behind.
Yeah.
One New Jersey group called the Devil Hunters refer to themselves as official researchers of the Jersey Devil and devote time to collecting reports, visiting historic sites, and going on nocturnal hunts in the Pine Barrens in order to, quote, find proof that the Jersey Devil does in fact exist.
Good for them.
Yeah, at least they're not cruel eugenicists.
Yeah.
Due in part to their isolated and undeveloped nature, the Pine Barrens have themselves fostered various folk legends. Apart from the Jersey Devil, many other legends are associated with the Pine Barrens. Supernatural creatures and ghosts said to haunt the pine forests include the ghost of pirate Captain Kidd, who supposedly buried treasure in the Pine Barrens and is sometimes allegedly seen in the company of the Jersey Devil.
They just hang out together?
Yeah, they're just chill buds,
Cool.
They bro down out there.
Yeah.
The ghost of the Black Doctor, the benevolent spirit of an African-American doctor who, after being forbidden from practicing medicine due to his race, entered the Pine Barrens to practice medicine in isolated communities of the Pine Barrens and is said to still come to aid of lost and injured travelers. Wow, that's kind of cool, actually. I like that. That's a cute story. That's cute while involving the history of racism. It's a cute concept, though. It's like, so the Black Doctor went to the isolated Pine Barrens so he could keep helping people. And now to this day, when hikers are lost, he still helps people from beyond the grave. That's like, I find that to be like one of the most wholesome urban legends I've heard in a while.
Yeah.
Is that a lot of lightning and thunder?
Yeah.
Good. Michelle's lucky. She has the perfect atmosphere for this because there's a thunderstorm going on right now.
Yeah, for the last hour.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Okay. Another one, the ghost of the black dog, which unlike many black dog legends is usually portrayed as harmless. The ghost of the golden-haired girl, the spirit of a girl who is said to be staring out into the sea dressed in white, mourning the loss of her lover at sea, and the white stag, a ghostly white deer said to rescue travelers in the Barrens from danger.
Oh, this sounds like there's lots of nice ghosts in the Pine Barrens.
Yeah, they're not all bad. Yeah. There are also folk tales concerning the Blue Hole. Have you heard of this?
Maybe.
An unusually clear blue and rounded body of water located in the Pine Barrens between Monroe Township, Gloucester County, and Winslow Township, Camden County. and often associated with the Jersey Devil. What have you heard about that?
That there's like I don't know, because I might be thinking of some other blue hole in some other country, but like maybe that like it doesn't have a bottom and that like you die if you go in it or something like that.
I mean, it could have a bottom and you'd still die. It's called drowning.
No, but this is you drown better this way.
Better or worse?
I
guess drowning badly would be not drowning at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Writing in Jan Harold Brunvan's American Folklore and Encyclopedia, Rutgers professor Angus Cress Gillespie called the Jersey Devil, quote, an obscure regional legend for most of its existence, and said that, quote, after more than 250 years in oral circulation, the legend of the Jersey Devil has many variations. Gillespie cites the devil's image used on t-shirts, buttons, and postcards, and cocktails named after the devil as indications that, quote, the recent history of the Jersey Devil is more in the realm of popular culture than folklore. So did that cover any of your theories?
No.
Well, then I want to hear your theory about the Jersey Devil. Everybody gather around, get your popcorn.
So this isn't totally my theory. It's someone else's, but what I would think was interesting is that the Jersey Devil might be, if the sightings aren't mass hysteria kind of thing, which they might be, that it may be somebody mistaking a bat for the Jersey Devil, a very large, weird bat.
Okay.
Like something like the sorry, I don't remember what it was. The hammer-headed bat, which is this giant bat. And the only problem is that they're not from New Jersey. They're not native to New Jersey. They're native to Africa. But
okay.
I'm listening.
I'm totally into this.
Yeah, I might be a little bit off on some of my like facts about this, but like,
oh, no one's expecting us to be smart or good at all.
Okay.
I promise.
So like there are like canals and stuffs in the Pine Barrens and things, and they used to be used for trade routes, and there were ships during the time when a lot of like the Jersey Devil sightings were. Mm-hmm. There were ships coming all the way from Africa, and there are theories that some of these bats may have come on some of the ships and they just scared the shit out of people. Mm-hmm. Because they're so large and weird looking. And then either they died out because they wouldn't be able to survive in this climate, or they either evolved or mated with some bat population, and we have kind of this weird looking species of bat that people see every once in a while.
So I looked up the hammerhead bat because I had never seen one.
Yeah.
And that is a very strong possibility.
Aren't they so cute?
They're incredibly cute, but you know what they look like to me? Mm-hmm. They look like, you know how like in like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, how people change when they become a vampire, like they get different ridges in their ears and stuff change. To me, a hammerhead bat is just a vampire capybara.
Okay, yeah.
Look at that, and then look at him.
Yeah,
it's like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer vampire capybara.
Yeah,
which is a very big land rodent. Mm-hmm. It has especially in some of these photos, a very goat-like head.
Yeah. It's got like a weird face shape, and they get kind of big, like that one that guy's holding in his hand in the picture.
Yeah, that's huge.
So,
well, and I've always believed that they're cranes because they're super common in that part of Jersey.
Yeah, I mean the only reason I would say that they aren't cranes is that people should know what cranes look like.
No, I mean I do agree with that. So I will say though, the best I've ever seen was the hammerhead bat for things that I think kind of look like the Jersey Devil.
Yay!
In a way, you know, like I wonder if I can find a picture of a hammerhead bat flying in
I
flight.
don't know.
Oh my God. That is scary looking because, you know, bats are bats. Yeah. So I wouldn't be shocked if this was like one of the earliest sightings could have been something like this, which would have scared the hell out of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that being said, I think that a lot of the modern sightings are probably cranes.
Maybe.
But most of these sightings are at night and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I have heard that like where most Jersey Devil sightings are reported is where cranes happen to also very much live. But I could be wrong. Maybe it's just a devil. And I should, stop talking smack about him.
Yeah.
So, but I appreciate that. That was not mentioned at all in here. So maybe you should go edit Wikipedia.
Maybe I will.
So before we wrap this topic up, I want to talk briefly about the hoaxes. Because like any good folklore, there have been hoaxes.
Okay.
Gordon Stein in Encyclopedia of Hoaxes, published in 1993, noted that the alleged footprints of the Jersey Devil during 1909 resembled a horse's hoof. According to Stein, a man later admitted he had faked some of those prints.
Yeah.
Jeff Tibbles in The World's Greatest Hoaxes, published in 2006, has claimed that Norman Jeffries was involved in hoaxing the Jersey Devil. Norman Jeffries, publicist for Philadelphia's Arch Street Museum, and renowned hoaxer, was well aware of the stories about the Jersey Devil. So when the museum proprietor, T.F. Hopkins, admitted that it was in danger of closure unless Jeffries came up with something to boost attendances, the publicist decided that a captive Jersey Devil would be the ideal crowd pooler.
Mm-hmm.
He also planted non-fictional newspaper stories about new sightings of the devil. During 1909, Jeffries, with his friend Jacob Hope, an animal trainer, purchased a kangaroo from a circus and glued artificial claws and bat wings onto it. They declared to the public that they had captured the Jersey Devil, and it was displayed at the museum.
Wow.
20 years later, Jeffries admitted to the hoax.
Wow, it took 20 years.
I guess a good joke takes a while to not be funny anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I mean, at least that's a hoax that's good, like a good concept for a hoax because it has a purpose and a goal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big problem with like conspiracy theories and things like that, is that they often don't have that. So it's like, oh, and then somebody just decided they were a dickhead. Mm-hmm. So they did this. You're like, why though? It's a jerk, I guess, or for the lulz. And it's like, not everything's for the lulz, I mean, I get though, like, hoaxes are, I get like how fun it is to pull one over on people, but what? I mean, it's fun. Like earlier, I pretended some old man was screaming on the corner of Butler, New Jersey about the Jersey Devil. You were way more interested.
That was pretty good, but it wasn't a hoax. Like, we didn't perpetuate it for a long period of time or anything.
Okay, you're right. This one time.
Okay.
But I think now it's time to wrap up the show for this month.
Mm-hmm.
I need to go rest some more because apparently I'm still a bit sick. And but I do want to mention that last Friday on this podcast feed, I did a recording of The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe. Mm-hmm. And holy crap, I forgot how good that story is. It's a really good story. Have you ever read it?
I don't know, actually, because I read a lot of Edgar Allan Poe when I was like, I don't know, like in middle school.
Yeah,
or
sure.
Something. So like, I don't know if I've actually read it.
Basically, it's about a guy who goes to visit an old childhood friend who lives in like an old money castle that's barely maintained because the family's not as rich as they used to be. And he's very ill and his sister's very ill. And one of my favorite things is that there's a major storm toward the end of the story. Mm-hmm. And to calm his friend down, he reads segments from a romance novel to him to try and like cheer him up. And it turns out the romance novel doesn't exist. So he made up the title of a romance novel and then made up like segments from it, but also referred to it as like a romance novel. Poe referred to it as a romance novel everybody knew. Because he was like, weird. And during the part, obviously, where this happens. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's really funny because I Googled it after and I was like, oh man, it doesn't exist. So, but it was just funny because it would be like, he'd be reading from like an excerpt of a book and then go back to like, then the storm made this sound and then another excerpt of a book trying to calm everybody down. But the other thing is I love classic literature like Poe, but sometimes I've realized I put classic literature on such a pedestal of being really, really excellent and like, beyond regular writing. now that I'm reading Poe as an adult, I'm realizing so many of Poe's stories are literally like, hey, check out this cool shit that happened to me. And it's not even real, like, but it's fictional.
Yeah.
Because that story is literally like about a guy riding a horse by the former House of Usher and then remembering the last day that the House of Usher stood when he visited. It's really good. So anyway, check that out if you guys get a chance. It's definitely worth listening to. And it's not like it costs you anything. And also this coming Friday, because it's Monday right now, this coming Friday, there'll be a brand new episode of Cutting Deep into Horror with myself and Celise. I know you enjoyed our talk about Hereditary.
I did.
And this month or week or whatever, we do the shows as much as we can fit into our schedule. But this time around, we're going to be talking about the 1981 Polish film, sort of, Possession.
Okay.
And the reason I say sort of is because the filmmaker was Polish, but it was shot in West Germany, or in West Berlin, and it's in English. So it's kind of a Polish film.
Maybe.
So, but we're going to talk all about that movie, and that movie is heavy duty. Very scary, very cerebral, very triggering in every way. And that's what we always go for on Cutting Deep into Horror. So that's all I have to say about that. So before we get out of here, Chell, do you have anything else you want to say?
No, that's okay.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, until next month, everybody, when we celebrate a full year, because we'll be starting our second year of doing this program, and Michelle is going to dress for the occasion, she's promised. But until next time, for myself, Enrique Couto, and for Michelle, I was going to say Chell, and then I said Michelle, so I said Michelle. Michelle, we will catch you next time. But first, I want to say a big thank you to our Patreon podcast boosters, folks who pay just a little bit more to hear their name on the end of our shows. And if you want to join them, just go to weeklyspooky.com and click on Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you can get bonus episodes and so much more, and know that you're helping us directly keep the shows going. And those patron podcast boosters are Bobbletopia.com, where if you use code WeeklySpooky at checkout, you can get 10% off and know 10% of your purchase is going to us. Megan Hua, Julia Kirsch, Brent McCullough, Gino Lyon, Steve King, Karen Weemet, Jack Kerr, and Craig Cohen. Thank you to all of them. And thank you, Michelle. Yeah, thank you so much for doing this show with me.
Thank you too.
Oh, you're nice. This was nice and wholesome. All right, back to constant intestinal cramping for me.